Hello everyone! Welcome to another stream of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, Justice for All. We're being joined by Miss Adrienne Andrews, who's currently playing with her little shell card, and we're going to immediately present this. Yay! Hope everyone's doing good today though. Hope all is well. 4 locks. Good God, guys. Good flippin' God. Motive for murder. Why was Juan Corrida murdered? If you ask me, I think you know the reason he was killed. Why are you hiding things? Don't you realize you're putting Mr. Unguard's life in danger? Hey, Mafia babe! Hello, hello, you're first! How you doing today? It's good to see ya. In danger by your actions? Why do you ask questions for which I have no answers? The truth is, I was not that close to Mr. Corrida. You were not that close? That's right, I've never been good at being intimate with another person. You are not good at being intimate with another person, so now I highly doubt that. I highly doubt that. I'm doing good, I'm ready for this case, Mafia babe. I am pumped, I'm ready. And I hope you are too. Did you see this case yet? I forgot if you did or not. You and Mr. Corrida had an intimate relationship, did you not? A silly third-rate tabloid article. If you even had half your wits about you, you wouldn't believe such rubbish. Well, it seems quite a few people have already bought into this story. As to be expected in a world filled with crooks and liars. Hey, Captain Chips, what's up? Welcome to the Cyclock event thingy. How you doing? Note to self, stay on your good side. In any case, I despise interpersonal relationships like that. I see. However, what if there was a need for you to get close to someone? Me? Need to get close to Mr. Corrida? As if there was ever such a need. Didn't you get close to Mr. Corrida for this person's sake? Yes. For Celeste. Celeste Impacts, your mentor. How do you know about Celeste? Silver Lionel weapons kinda rule? Oh yeah. Now you know how epic they are. She committed suicide, didn't she? But it looks like no one knows why. Right before her death, she was Juan Corrida's manager. So, I believe you got close to Mr. Corrida so you could find out more about her suicide. You have a great imagination. You may have a future yet as a slimy muckraker for a putrid third-rate tabloid. Miss Andrews? There was no mystery surrounding her death. None. It would be pointless for me to force myself into a relationship for nothing. Is that really true? Was there really no mystery at all? I don't believe you were completely at ease with the way her suicide was resolved. Where was it? Right here. No, this one. Whoops. Wrong one. Get a hold of yourself. Huh? Want advice on doing yourself in? I suggest asking someone like the police. Whoops. Yeah. Wrong one. Guess it's this one? Here we go. Miss Impact's suicide note was never found, was it? It looked like the police were under suspicion that someone had hidden it. Like maybe the person who discovered her body, Mr. Corrida. What? Juan? And Miss Andrews, I believe you thought the same thing. That is why you became intimate with Mr. Corrida. I've sat by quietly and listened to your insulting ramblings long enough. It's true that Celeste was my mentor. However, allow me to say this again. It has nothing to do with me. I didn't even know her suicide note was never found. I'm a person who doesn't care about what goes on in the lives of others. That's the impression you like to give, however. I don't think that's who you really are. What? I have evidence that says otherwise. This is proof that Celeste Impacts was someone very special to you. There we go. Miss Andrews, you nearly went through with it too, didn't you? Went through with what? Ending your life. Miss Andrews, you look and act like a very strong woman who has it all together. You don't ask for anyone's help, relying only on yourself. Yes, I've been very independent ever since I can remember. However, that is all just a lie, a facade. Hey, Angel Love! What's up? Welcome back to the stream. Are you ready for some ace attorneying? You've always searched out people on whom you can depend on. You were dependent on Miss Impax, weren't you? Which is why, when she passed away, you lost everything you had. Stop! When Celeste passed away, so suddenly like that, I died a death of my own, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't stop thinking about what had become of her note. You must have heard about the police report. The one that said the police suspected Mr. Corda of hiding Miss Impax's note. You heard about it, and thought to recover it from him by getting close, am I right? If that's the case, then everything changes. What do you mean? What topic did we start this conversation on again? It was why was the victim killed? Exactly. Somehow, Miss Andrews, it seems that you have become the one with the reason to want Mr. Corda dead. Me? Miss Impax was everything to you. And then she died, and you would do anything to find out why she killed herself. Even commit murder. Murder? Yay! Health recovered. It's true. I am a woman who can only live in insecurity. I'm physically small, and I don't really have a lot of self-confidence. I pushed against all that, though. I tried to live strongly. I never wanted anyone to find out the truth. Miss Andrews. This one thing. It's the one thing I wanted to take with me to the grave. It was my secret, mine and mine alone. I'm sorry. You probably think I'm a worthless human being right now, don't you? Please, Miss Andrews, all I want to know is the truth. After Celeste passed away, I heard that someone had hidden her suicide note, and that someone was Juan Corda. Celeste, without her, I became scared. Everyone seemed like they were out to get me. Hey, Papa Be Fun! Welcome to the stream. You found my secret, my friend. I am a streamer too. I do. But how you doing? It's good to see ya. Sorry it took me a while to see your message. You got close to Mr. Corda to recover her suicide note, correct? Looks like that tabloid reported the truth after all. Ironic, isn't it? How did you never know you streamed? I guess I kept it a secret for many years. Well, like they say, where there's smoke, there's fire. And if they purposely add fuel to the fire, they keep the celebrity world burning. But as for the suicide note, I didn't and wouldn't kill anyone for it. It just doesn't suit me, that's all. Well, that's enough for now. But how have you been, though? It's good to see ya. Glad to see you're part of the community now at long last. I understand. Oh, I have one small favor to ask. My attempted suicide, I'd like for you to keep it a secret. Miss Andrews, if people found out about my weakness, I would sooner choose to die than live. Alright, I understand. We'll keep it a secret. Miss Andrews, I guess she's the overthinking type. She probably never says anything without carefully thinking it through first. You're glad to be here. Have you ever seen this game before, Papa Be Fun? The, Phoenix Wright series? But yeah, I'm glad you're here too. Thank you for your discretion. Mr. Nick, can I ask you something? What is it? Miss Andrews has been playing with that card in her hand since a little while back. That card? Yeah, I guess she has. Miss Andrews, what is that card you're holding? Huh? Oh, this? I don't quite know. It just suddenly appeared in my handbag. Huh, looks cool. What is it? It looks like a seashell? That's what it looks like, doesn't it? I honestly don't remember owning this card. I wonder where I picked it up from. Or not remembering something clearly. Sounds like it would be a rare occurrence. Well, I must be off. I'll leave Mr. Unguard in your capable hands. You heard about it but never seen it? Oh, it's good. Some of the best story that you'll see in most games. Well, I think we've gathered about all we can. What about Mystic Maya? Is she alright? Oh, Pearls, she looks so worn out by all this. She hasn't slept at all, and has been walking all over the place with me today. What's wrong, Mr. Nick? Let's go back to the office for a little while. You're really tired, right? Oh, no. I'm okay, really. I'm fine. I really am. You don't look fine to me. Whoops. But yeah, this game series is great. That's why I'm playing it for you guys again. Not again, for the first time. Just to remember all those good times I played. Poor nervous Pearly. I know. Worried about her cousin. So, what now? Well, we did find out one thing out for sure. Miss Andrews has a motive. You mean Miss Impax's suicide note? That's right. She was also the one to discover the victim's body. Clever. Beep, beep, beep. Uh-oh. Ah, Mr. Nick, the transceiver. Beep. Hello, Wright & Cole offices. Mr. Attorney, you're not answering a phone. Maya, where's Maya? As I promised, I have not gone within a few feet of her this whole time. Phew. Which is why I suppose she is absolutely famished. What? So I suggest you win a quick acquittal, my friend. Acquittal, at any cost, wouldn't you agree? Wait, Maya, let me hear her. Very well. Ask my... Maya, is that you? Sis, ask my sis. Beep. Maya, damn it, he cut me off. Mystic Maya said ask my sis, didn't he? Didn't she? Sis? What does she mean by that? Come on, Phoenix. Sigh, you're a hopeless one. Sorry. Ack! Mia! I have a message from Maya, so come, ask me anything you want about her. Well, this is a clever way to use spirit channeling. How's Maya? She's safe, for now. That kidnapper is one to keep his word, it seems. I'm glad to hear she's safe, but Mia, how did you know? As soon as she was locked up, Maya called for me. I read the note she left. Then I gathered as much information about her surroundings as I could. I didn't know you could use spirit channeling like that. Pretty smart of her. The kidnapper? What's he like? I don't know. Apparently, Maya went in to answer a phone call at the hotel and was drugged there. And? She didn't see the face of her attacker. Arg! Maya is locked up in a very dark place right now. I'll tell you everything I heard when I was with her. When you were with her? Date. Time. Location. I'm starving. I could really go for some apple pie. I mean, at a time like this, sweets are the only way to go. I have to stay positive. He promised he wasn't going to kill me. I'm not going to die. Sis, wonder if you're with Nick right now. Alright, here's the door. But what's this here? There's a thing here. Huh? Someone dropped a card here. It kind of looks like a business card, but there's no name on it. Oh, wait a minute. Where have we seen this card before, guys? It's a picture of a seashell, I think. What a strange card. Weird. Drat, it's locked. But the door's lock seems easy to open. On TV, the hero always uses a plastic card or a stiff piece of cardboard. Then click, they magically open the door. I wonder if there's a card like that around here I could use. Ah, that's it. This shell card. If I use this, maybe I can get the door open. This might be my key out of here. I had a feeling this card might be useful. I'm such a genius. Alright, now if you'll excuse me, Mr. Kidnapper. Click. I did it. Okay, now I'm getting the heck out of here. I shouldn't keep Nick waiting, or worried. Alright, cool. Looks like Maya's gonna escape. We're all good, guys. We're all good. Who's ready for a court battle? Me versus Franziska von Karma going up against whatever we're going up against. Adrian did it? That's what it looks like. Dude, no way. That woman couldn't do anything like that. In court today, there will be a mountain of evidence that will implicate you. A mountain of evidence? I'm certain there is someone out there trying very hard to pin this whole thing on you. Please, Mr. Lawyer. Dude, like I said yesterday, I'm refreshing like a spring breeze, alright? I can't let any sort of scandal ruin that. I understand. Well, it's almost time. Mia, we must get a complete acquittal today. I know, but I can't focus on Maya's situation right now. Or Pearl's either. No matter what, I have to focus on winning this case by the end of the day. Indeed. Well, let's get going. It's him. Beep. This is right. Good morning. This is it, Mr. Attorney. The day of the trial. Maya, she's unharmed, right? Well, when I checked on her earlier this morning, she seemed a bit, how shall we say, tired. Don't worry, people don't die that easily. Besides, what you really should be concentrating on is winning today's trial. Grr. For my sake as well as yours, you must win today's trial, which is why I sent you a little present this morning. Present? What in the world would you want to give to me? You'll figure it out once the trial starts, and even if you don't like my gift, I expect you to graciously accept it and win the day's contest, if you please. Wait. The kidnapper sent me a present? Mr. Lawyer Dude? Who was that? No one. Has nothing to do with you, so forget you heard anything. Dude, did your nose just get longer? We have to win today, guys, or Maya's dead. This is gonna be something. Court is now in session for the trial of Matt Ungard. Are the prosecution and defense ready? The defense is ready, Your Honor. I say, Mr. Wright, what happened to Miss Von Karma? I don't know, Your Honor. Why are you getting mad at me? Your Honor! Please be quiet, bailiff. Court is in session. If you must tell me something, please keep it brief. Now then, what is it? Prosecutor Von Karma has... This morning, Miss Von Karma was shot by an unknown gunman. What? Shot? Uh-oh. Somehow, I think this is the present that man was talking about. His present? Miss Von Karma is one of the top prosecutors in the country at the moment. If she were to disappear, it would be to your advantage. This is totally insane. Miss Von Karma, is she alright? I don't have that answer. She's alive and in stable condition. That's good. Phew. You're... I thought he'd show up. Your Honor, due to the circumstances, Miss Franziska Von Karma cannot appear in court today. I, Miles Edgeworth, will be taking her place. The prosecution is ready, naturally. Here we go. He's back! Miss Von Karma was shot in her right shoulder and is currently undergoing surgery. Luckily, I have looked this case over and am familiar with the details. The prosecution seeks to prove the guilt of Mr. Matt Ungard. The court acknowledges the prosecution. Right. I finally found the answer I was struggling for on my long journey this past year. By the time this case comes to an end, you too will know the answer. Now then, the prosecution would like to call its first witness. Please bring Detective Gumshoe to the witness stand. Witness, your name and occupation. My name's Dick Gumshoe, sir. I'm a detective down at the precinct, for now. For now? After this trial's over, I'm supposed to turn in my badge, sir. Aw, he was fired again. Detective Gumshoe. The prosecution has no need for a depressed witness. Lift your head up and face forward like a proud officer, Detective Dick Gumshoe. Yes, sir. Now, let's have your testimony. If we want to explore the various facets of this case, we must start with that. Get ready, Phoenix. This is going to be one very rough fight. Yeah, it would have to be with Edgeworth as my opponent. The answer he was struggling for. Interesting. Show me this answer you finally found, Edgeworth. If not his pay his job, the poor man. I know. Poor Gumshoe. This murder happened after the Hero of Heroes award ceremony, sir. The victim, Juan Corrida, was found dead in his hotel room. After looking into the cause of death, we believe he was definitely murdered, sir. At first, we thought there was something suspicious about the empty guitar case. However, we later found out that the guitar case had nothing to do with the murder. Making grilled cheese. Hey, Mick! How's your grilled cheese going? I hope it's good and tasty and good. After the award ceremony ended, the victim was alone in his room? Yes, sir. Both the victim and the defendant went alone to their rooms, sir. I see. Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. And A.D. Williams, you're here too. What's up? This murder happened after the Hero of Heroes award ceremony, sir. Would you please give us a brief timeline of what happened after the ceremony? Okay, pal. The ceremony started at 6 p.m., it ended around 8 p.m., and then there was a short break. A special post-ceremony show was supposed to start in the lobby 30 minutes later. And that's when the victim's body was found, correct? Which is to say, the murder occurred during that 30-minute break period. Please continue with your testimony, Detective. The victim, Juan Corrida, was found dead in his hotel room. The person who discovered the victim's body was Adrian Andrews, correct? Yeah. Who is this Adrian Andrews you're talking about? She's the defendant, Matt Ungard's manager. She's a really pretty lady, sir. Ah, so she's a pretty lady. I wonder if she will grace us with her presence. When the post-ceremony show was about to start, she went to get Mr. Ungard. After visiting his room, she next went to the victim's room to get him for the show, sir. I see. And that's when she found the victim's body? After looking into the cause of death, we believe he was definitely murdered, sir. The cause of death? Wasn't that because of Mr. Corrida was stabbed in the chest? Only a careless amateur would believe something so brainless as that, pal. Take a good hard look at the crime photo. Now a real pro's attention would be drawn here to this bandana. Banana? His bandana, sir. That's the thing wrapped tightly around his neck, sir. Yes, I see. His banana-scented bandana. Then, what about the knife? It seems to have been stuck in the victim's chest on purpose after his death. We have a crafty murderer on our hands here. So, 8:15, strangled with a scarf, then stabbed. Whew! At first we thought there was something suspicious about the empty guitar case. And why did you think that? Because it was empty, pal. The Jammin' Ninja doesn't go anywhere without his bright red guitar, and we couldn't find it anywhere at the scene of the crime. Oh, then how about this theory? A fan really wanted the guitar and did the crime to get it. How's that? We thought of that too, but... The only fingerprints on the guitar case were the victims. Only the victims, huh? I see. So much for my theory then. However, we later found out that the guitar case had nothing to do with the murder. Whoops. Did not mean to press A there. What convinced you it had nothing to do with the case? The guitar wasn't at the Gatewater Hotel that night. Well then, where was it? The bright red guitar was eventually found at the TV studio. The victim, Juan Corrida, had apparently only taken the case with him, sir. So, you mean he forgot to put the guitar inside the case? Yes, sir. Even when he was on stage for the ceremony, he didn't have his guitar. So the guitar case was empty even before he got to the hotel. Yeah, that's right. So it really had nothing to do with the case after all. I believe that is enough. First, the victim was choked to death with his bandana. Then after the victim was dead, the killer deliberately stabbed him with a knife. Which brings me to my next point. Why then did the police arrest Matt Ungard? Because there was reason enough to suspect him. Here it comes. Looks like Edgeworth's back in full swing. Very well, Detective Gumshoe. Please testify about this matter. Yes, sir. Why arrest Ungard? Matt Ungard and Juan Corrida were huge rivals with each other. Each thought the other guy was in his way. That's motive enough in my book. As for evidence, there's the Jammin' Ninja's button. It was ripped off of the ninja's costume and was found in Mr. Ungard's hakama. The defendant's fingerprints were also all over the knife. The defendant brought the knife for the crime, which makes this a premeditated murder. So the defendant's fingerprints were found on the knife used in the stabbing. It was sort of sticky on the handle, so the fingerprints came out pretty clearly, sir. Okay. And there's this button. That was found in the defendant's clothes, wasn't it? And this button also covered in blood, is it? Yes, so we know that it's the blood on is the victim's blood, sir. What? All of this points very clearly to the defendant, doesn't it? Yes, it most certainly does, Your Honor. Ready to give in yet, right? I'll find the hole in your argument somehow. You can press as hard as you'd like, just hurry up with your usual pointless questions. Grrr. Oh, I love these two. So I think we skipped the first two. And I'll save here just in case I do something wrong. Do you have any proof that Button belonged to the victim? Huh? What do you mean, pal? Oh, let me put it this way. I'm asking you if you had any evidence to back up your claim that this button was ripped off of the Jammin' Ninja's costume. But can't you tell just by looking at it? And the victim's blood is on it. Anyone could have smeared that blood on there afterward. Mr. Edgeworth, help me, sir. Alright, I knew we had to be this piece of evidence. Now to reel this one in. Thread. Huh? The button was attached to the costume by thread, obviously, and that thread snapped when the button was torn off. If you match up the end of the thread on the costume with the thread on the button, it's a perfect match. Yeah, that's it. They're a perfect match, pal. That's Edgeworth for you. Never misses a beat. It was ripped off of the ninja costume and was found in Mr. Enguarde's hakama. When was this button found? Pretty soon after the body was found, we rounded up everyone who knew Mr. Korida, and then we did a search on them all. That's when we found the button. So it was almost immediately after the murder. The police didn't have the free time to lollygag and play tricks, unlike some people. Hey, what was he trying to say about me here? The defendant's fingerprints were also all over the knife. How were the fingerprints arranged on the knife? What do you mean, pal? By examining the fingerprints, you can determine how the defendant held the knife. For example, did he hold it normally or overhand? Oh, is that what you meant? Well, we didn't actually think of that. I can't believe this bumbling of this department. Grilled cheese, do you have it? Eat up! Hopeless, were you paying attention to the testimony right? The defendant's fingerprints were all over the knife. There is no way to determine how the knife was held at the moment of the murder. So was the defendant the owner of the knife then? The defendant brought the knife to the crime system, which makes this a premeditated murder. There is no way this was a premeditated murder, even if he bought the knife. Sorry, pal, this isn't some pocket knife. It doesn't fold, so it's not great for walking around with either. Arg, well, this is not good. If the prosecution can prove it was a premeditated murder, we're done for. Phoenix, yes? There's something very interesting about what the detective said just now. Think carefully, before it's too late. A button covered in the victim's blood, and a knife with Enguarde's fingerprints. Be grateful. If the judge were more rash, he would have already pounded his gavel in closing. We're still in a world of trouble. Well, before any battle, you must find your enemy's weakness. Let's find the weakness in this testimony, no matter how small it may be, okay, Phoenix? You made some for your mom and dad? That's nice. I am glad that, you're a good son. I think it's this one. Wait a second. What? So the basis of your argument that it was a premeditated murder is simply that my client bought a knife beforehand. That's right, pal. The defendant did not buy this knife. Huh? Take a good look at the handle of this knife and you'll see what I'm talking about. Huh? It has a Gatewater seal set into the handle. Gatewater? I think I heard that name somewhere before. That's the name of the hotel, the Gatewater Hotel. Uh-oh. The murder knife was actually property of the hotel, which means this murder was not premeditated. Yes, that is very true. This is very big. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm sorry, but the defense is simply too careless. What? I think whether the crime was premeditated or not has already been determined. How so? I admit this knife is hotel property. There is no one currently on the police force that is dumb enough to not realize this. But I didn't know. Oh, whimper. The question is, where did this knife come from? Why is that obvious? It came from the victim, Mr. Korida's room. Sorry, Your Honor, but that is incorrect. The victim ate a last meal before he was murdered. With that being the case, I would like to draw the court's attention to what is on top of the table. There is a knife and fork on the table. Then, Where in the world did this knife come from? If it pleases the court, I would like for us to recall the room of the defendant, Mr. Matt Ungard. Especially what was on top of his table. There is something missing. Perhaps it is a single knife? We investigated the leftover dishes for fingerprints, and while we were investigating, we came to the conclusion that Mr. Matt Ungard's knife was missing. Urk. Mr. Ungard has gone to the victim's room with the knife he had used during dinner. Why would he carry a knife on a visit? To kill, of course. And with that, I believe the prosecution has proven this was a premeditated murder. Amazing, Mr. Edgeworth. Absolutely brilliant. A brilliantly clear deduction. It seems like Edgeworth had this plan from the very beginning. This must be one of those traps. I just walked headlong into it. A murder weapon with fingerprints, and a button from the victim's costume. There is quite a sizable amount of evidence here. I can safely say that any further deliberation is a waste of your Honor's time. Although, I wouldn't mind if the defense were to present evidence not yet shown to the court. Evidence not yet shown? He means evidence that the court hasn't seen yet. In other words, new evidence. What does the defense have to say about this, Mr. Wright? Well, Phoenix. The judge is favoring the prosecution right now. The answer was something wrong here. That gavel of his will be ringing out to the sound of our defeat. Mr. Wright, do you have something important and necessary to present to this court? Better save the game, just in case. I do! There's one piece of evidence that catches my attention, something that this court has yet to see. Mr. Wright, I will say this one more time. I do not feel this trial needs to continue at all. However, I'm giving you one chance, and only one. What the judge is saying, right, is don't try pulling one of your usual bluffs here. If I mess this up, it's curtains for all of us. You may now present one and only one piece of evidence. Now then, what is the important evidence that you must show to the courtroom? Look at the bar. If we get this wrong, we lose. You haven't seen the wine glass yet, with the tomato juice. This is a wine glass, isn't it? Is it not? Please look at the photo of the crime scene one more time. The scene is a mess because of the victim's struggle against his assailant. The vase was broken, his makeup is all over the floor. These were all things that were at one point sitting on top of the dresser. Well yes, I see your point. However, the glass that is sitting on top of the dresser is mysteriously untouched. The only thing that had not fallen over with everything else is this wine glass. This piece of evidence is more than strange enough to warrant further consideration. Well, what do you all have to say? Well, yes, it is a little peculiar. Yes, isn't it? I thought it was. You can stop looking at me with those puppy dog eyes of yours now. Mr. Edgeworth? What is it, Your Honor? Your opinion. You don't need my opinion, because there is no special meaning to that glass. What? It's safe to say that glass was set there after the crime took place. By the person who discovered the body, Adrienne Andrews, for example. She could have easily been so shocked that she set the glass down without thinking. That does sound very plausible. Mr. Wright? Could Miss Andrews really have set that glass down without thinking? Just in case. There's no way! If I appear weak here, the trial is over. I can look for my proof later. For now, I should trust my instinct and point with certainty. They just might fall for it, if you're thought-provoking enough. The defense would like to challenge the prosecution's theory. We would like to see something that proves it was Miss Andrews who set the cup on the table. You turned the situation on its head yet again, as usual. Mr. Edgeworth, do you have any proof to back up your claim? There's no way he has any. He's just bluffing. Unlike Mr. Wright, I never say anything unless I have the evidence to support it. What? You're not thinking hard enough today, right? Did you think this wine glass escaped my notice? Then... Of course it had been thoroughly inspected for fingerprints. Fingerprints? There were only one set of fingerprints left on this wine glass. Only one? Well, whose were they? They were not the victims nor the defendants. Rather, they were of one Adrian Andrews. What? That is why I said that the person who had discovered the body left it there. Are we done here, Mr. Wright? Grr, I can't believe I fell into another trap. Miss Andrews was probably holding the glass when she went to see Mr. Corrida. But upon seeing his dead body, she was stunned, and set the glass down on the dresser. What you just said makes a lot of sense. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Now do you see, right? You can't change any part of my scenario, as it explains everything all too well. Grrr. I thought long and hard this past year about what it means to be a prosecutor, and from here on out, I will show you the answer I have come to discover. Wait a second, Mr. Edgeworth. I think the prosecution has provided enough evidence for me to enter my verdict. Unfortunately, I cannot allow you to pass judgment yet. The prosecution has yet another witness we would like to hear the court to hear from. Another witness? Yes. Bailiff, please bring in the next witness. What in the world is Mr. Edgeworth thinking? Oh boy. Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. Witness, your name and occupation, please. Erg!
Gotcha!
Grrr. I wonder what happened to that calm composure he had earlier.
Oh, Edgy boy, it's been what, a year since we last met, hasn't it? You should be more happy to see me.
I saw the report with her testimony, but who knew that under that helmet it was the Wicked Witch of the witness stand?
I tell you, this time I know what I'm supposed to do. So today, I'm going to tell you anything and everything, even things that don't have to do with the terrible crime.
Miss Witness, that terrible crime is all the court needs to know. Oof!
Shush, I'm talking to my dear Edgy Wedgie right now.
Don't interrupt us, Gramps. Yes, madam. No, please, by all means, interrupt her, please. Ahem. Anyway, witness, your testimony, please.
It's true what they say, that youths are hotheads nowadays. Not that I mind, Edgy. Now then, what should I start with?
The witness was on security detail at the hotel on the night of the murder. Is this correct, Miss Oldbag?
It was a great job being able to see my dear Iwan. It was almost too much for my little heart to handle.
Grab the shotgun, bailiffs. Sometimes have. Tempting. Very tempting, D. Williams. You mean you were a fan of the victim?
Look, everyone is crazy over that Ungard, saying he's cute in a fresh way or something. But not me. I wouldn't say anything so silly. After all, I have no interest in a little child like him. I'm only interested in a real man, Juan Corrida.
But those two were the same age.
Anyway, as I was saying, I was pacing in front of his room that night.
Very well. Please tell the court what you witnessed the night of the murder.
Leave it to me, Edgy Poo.
Well, here we go.
Anyway, after the ceremony, I went to pace around in the hallway in front of his room. There was something I was interested in finding out, you know. Well, since I was on the job, I made sure to keep a good eye out the whole time. That's when someone showed up. It was a man coming out of poor Juan's room. It was Ungard, Matt Ungard. He was trying to sneak his way out of Juan's room.
So Mr. Ungard came out from the victim's room.
See? It has to be him. He's the murderer.
I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Oh boy.
Not here.
Maybe this. Let's just do these. Something you were interested in? And just what was that?
It's not some little thing I can just go around telling everyone, you know. It's top secret between me and Juan. And Edgy Poo, of course.
Mr. Edgeworth, what is this thing she was interested in? I have no idea. I despise gossip, Your Honor. Gossip? But should it prove relevant, we can always have it appended to her testimony later. Looks like we should enforce it right now. And did the witness stay in the vicinity of the victim's door the entire time?
Well, since I was on the job, I made sure to keep a good eye out the whole time.
Oh, then would you tell us the number of people who went in and out of Mr. Corrida's room?
I have no idea. I wasn't born so I could count things for those who didn't pay attention in class. That's why ever since I turned 20, I quit keeping track of how old I really am. Yes, well, that would explain why your age was not included in the report. In any case, the witness then saw someone, correct? That's when someone showed up. It was a man coming out of poor Juan's room. Who in the world was that? I'm not allowed to say. This sort of information is to be carefully guarded from the masses, Sonny. The man that came out of Juan's room, he was... Yes, he was? I'm too scared. I can't say his name out loud. Oh, what I wouldn't give to have Franziska's whip right about now. Well, I guess I can tell you, since he was such a bad boy anyway. It was Ungard, Matt Ungard. He was trying to sneak his way out of Juan's room. You saw my client? Are you sure about that? Yes, say. Really? Annoying brat. When I say I saw someone, I saw that person. Why do I get a sense of deja vu? Maybe to avoid a repeat of last year, I should delve into this bit a bit further. Clothes. Please tell the court about the man's clothes in more detail. What a troublesome man you are. Really, as if something like that matters. But it does. Now what was it? Oh yes, it was that thing. What thing? That gaudy thing he's always wearing. That racing jacket. He was wearing that at the detention center too. That thing's meant for nothing but seducing women out of their pantaloons. Men. Right. So, Mr. Wright, was this testimony just now important or relevant in any way? Yeah. Of course it was important, Your Honor. Then perhaps you would like to point out which part of that testimony was important? Don't you see it, Edgeworth? Your Honor, I request what the witness said about the jacket be appended to her testimony. I don't quite see where you're going with this, but alright, witness, please. Well, I don't like bad mouth reason without reason, but if I must. He was wearing his flashy racing jacket. Honestly, it's all just for show. Just in case I get it wrong. Racing jacket, all just for show. But how was, this here, then? Miss Oldbag? What? Don't say my name for no reason! Do you know what this is? It's button number 2 on the Gem and Ninja's costume! Now I know she's an obsessed fan. She identified it in a single glance. Give it here! Give it here! If you don't give it to me, I'll punish you with this! Wow, she really is a die-hard fan to want a button covered in blood. This button was discovered on Mr. Ungard's body during a full-body search. See? This button proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was that rascal Ungard. It was caught up in the pleats of his Nickel Samurai Hakama pants. See? And Ungard is the Nickel Samurai. Witness. Now, it may just be me, and I do have an active imagination, but just now, didn't you say that the defendant, Matt Ungard, was wearing his usual racing jacket? I'm so sorry. Sorry that you judge people based on what they wear. If I were the trendiest dress, then maybe you'd think it was the most gorgeous person ever. Did you look at the outfit? Look, you'd agree with the outfit. This is hideous, right? Tape recorder stuck on my chest. Let me tell you, it's heavy, so heavy. I wish we would have switched CDs again. Just go big, dream of life for those kids out there. Smiling face, you know? Understand? Now take a look in the mirror. Your clothes are about as interesting as a documentary on curling. Take a trip from Edgy Poo. He's got style. Now hold your tongue still there for 1 second. So, what you saw in actuality was not Mr. Ungard, the man, but Mr. Ungard, the Nickel Samurai. But when you think about it, they're really one and the same anyway. Miss Oldbag, this is a very important point we're talking about. Edgy Poo, do you think so too? Well, it might be something worth considering. Just say it's important and agree with me for a change. Witness, think carefully and try to remember as much as you can before you testify. Alright, if you insist. I should be the one sighing, not you. Ungard. Yes, now I remember. The Nickel Samurai. That's right, it was the Nickel Samurai that I saw. Yes, it would have been convenient for him to wear his costume during the murder. He had to go to that post-ceremony stage show right after the crime, you know. He must have worn the Nickel Samurai costume when he was stabbing poor Juan. I knew it. I knew you'd say he was inside that costume. What? Did you think there could have been someone else inside that costume? Don't be a bad little boy, thinking such rude things. But it's a possibility does exist. Ah, you young'uns today, I told you there's no way it was anyone else. How do you know that? Because I said so, and what I say is the truth.
At least she's just as delightful a witness as she was a year ago. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Yo, she crazy.
Let's see if I can do this now. Something tells me no, but let's do it. Must have worn the costume when he was stabbing poor Juan. Yes. Please take a look at this. Yeah, so, it's a knife. Big deal. If you're trying to scare me with that, I'll have you know it won't work. No, that's not my intention at all. That's the knife that was used in the murder, correct? Your Honor, do you know why this piece of evidence is important to this case? You don't even have to ask. It's because the defendant's fingerprints are on it. Is that what you're driving at? That is exactly what I'm driving at. What are we driving at? And whose car are we driving?
Okay, come on, controllers.
Don't die. If Mr. Ungard was really in the Nickel Samurai costume at the time of the murder, then it's impossible for his fingerprints to have been left on this knife. Actually, he would have wiped out previous fingerprints on this knife right off. Oh, that's right. The Nickel Samurai wears gloves, doesn't he? He probably took his gloves off before he began the stabbing. And why would he do something like that? To leave his print on the murder weapon? There's no way that he would do something like that. However, there is one possibility. Then let's hear your possibility. It's very simple. The defendant went to the victim's room while in costume and as the Nickel Samurai. At the time, the defendant held no intent to murder. He was probably just going to relax and talk with the victim about the stage show. Which is why he took his gloves off. But the murderer still did take place. It's well known that there was a bad blood between the defendant and the victim. Yes, I have heard that before. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say about Mr. Edgeworth's theory? So let me get this straight. Edgeworth's theory goes like this. When the defendant went to the victim's room, he had no intention of killing him. Now, up to this point, are there any problems with this theory? Save just in case. And I'm gonna say yes. This theory can contradict something in an earlier testimony. What are you babbling about? Now, for argument's sake, let's suppose Mr. Ungard was the killer. If that's the case, I think it's impossible for the killer to have gone to the victim's room without intent. This knife, this was used by Mr. Ungard at dinner. Yes, we did establish that, which means that if my client was in fact the killer, then he brought this knife with him when he went to visit Mr. Corrida. I suppose. However, you just said it yourself. At that time, the defendant held no intent to murder. If that were true, then why would he bring a knife? He wouldn't, would he? Which means, Mr. Edgeworth, your theory was flawed from suspicion 1. And one more thing, if the murderer was wearing the costume at the time of the murder, then there should be glove marks left on the knife. Which means the defendant's fingerprints shouldn't be all over it like bees on a hive. And that brings me to my final point. This knife was planted by the real killer to hide their identity and mislead us. Order, I say. Order in the court. Was this knife really planted by the killer? Why would the murderer do such a thing? To frame. It's to frame my client, Mr. Ungard, of course. To frame? Aren't you forcing the interpretation just a little too hard on this one? But we just established that the witness saw the Nickel Samurai in costume, and if that were true, then there shouldn't be a single fingerprint on this knife. Grr. Witness. Looks like I've made your life a tiny bit more difficult, huh, Edgy Poo? Grr. Witness, did you not really see the Nickel Samurai? Well, I guess at first I might have forgotten, but... Are you saying you mixed up Mr. Unguard with the Nickel Samurai, his character on TV? But I mean, I can't really do anything about that now. Look, I was waiting around in front of their doors because, well, I wasn't waiting around for the Nickel Samurai, that's for sure. She wasn't waiting for the Nickel Samurai. Alright then, who were you waiting around for then? That's top secret for anyone outside of security. I have a feeling that you were waiting for Mr. Juan Corrida, am I correct, Witness? Ha ha ha. The way you think, you are a sad amateur with a terrible case of nearsightedness. Amateur? Me? What am I an amateur of? So Oldbag was waiting around in front of the victim's room, but it doesn't sound like she was waiting to catch a glimpse of Mr. Corrida. Maybe, Phoenix, maybe the Oldbag was waiting around for that person. Let's save real quick. If it's who I think Maya is hinting at, it's certainly possible. Miss Oldbag, you were waiting for this person to come out of the victim's room, weren't you? Yes, Pearl Faye. Just kidding. Who is this person? This is Adrian Andrews, Mr. Unguard's manager. But why would the defendant's manager be in the victim's room? It seems that this is the latest rumor in circulation, Your Honor. Okay. This is, I see. The judge seems to be really into that article, if it can be called such a thing. Then this manager with the initials AA, are you saying it's... Adrian Andrews, without a doubt. The witness thought so as well. Looks like you found me out. Well, that's fine. I can throw away this whole sworn to confidentiality stuff then. Witness, what in the world are you... Watch out, Phoenix. I've got a bad feeling about this. A very bad feeling. I got some information. Some very secret information from a certain source. So that's why I was doing my own little investigation, in secret, of course. But what for? Oh, just for myself. Personal reasons and all that. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, how will you proceed from here? I really don't want to do this, however, I cannot simply let this point slide. I see. Very well then. Witness, please testify about this secret information. Get ready. This is going to take the wind out of you, youngins. I'm sure we're all capable of handling this. Really, it's not like we're 10 years old. That Unguard is one evil, evil man. He thought he could ruin poor Juan by causing a huge scandal. But to do that, he sent his own manager to get in close with Juan. I cannot condone such dirty tricks, so I took action. Oh, and this is top secret. You got that? No one else but you and me know yet, okay? Defendant sent his manager? What a distasteful topic for this court. What? Nobody's above gossip. And isn't there a saying, the truth is never pleasant? Never heard of that one before. Mr. Edgeworth, what about this Adrian Andrews person? We have looked into this matter, and found that the truth of the article proposes is in fact baseless gossip. But should this be true, then this proves that the defendant did bear ill will toward the victim. So this means I have to smash this rumor once and for all. Now then, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Be careful, this old bag seems rather excited right now. That's right, Unguard is nothing but your average foul-blooded youth. Well, as the old saying goes, you gotta burn old bags with fire. Time to fire up the afterburners and hit the highway to the danger zone.
Hey Don! How you doing?
Welcome to this crazy game. How you doing today? That Unguard is one evil, evil man. He thought he could ruin poor Juan by causing a huge scandal. A scandal? What do you mean by that? You're a dim-witted one, aren't you? I can't believe you don't know what a scandal is. Honestly, what are they teaching kids in middle school these days? No, I wasn't asking what the word scandal means. Even I know that much. Well, that Unguard thought he could own a monopoly on popularity.
Playing Honkai while watching you?
Ooh, I wish you luck. Do well, alright? And let's solve this case. So to do that, he sent his own manager to get in close with Juan. You don't have any proof of that. Mr. Unguard did any such thing. You must be suffering from shock, the shock of hearing the truth. And now, since you're in so much shock, you can't do anything right now.
You're right, I can't do anything, but boy do I wish I could do something about you.
Alright then, Sonny, show me what you got. Can you show me proof that Unguard didn't bear any ill will toward Juan?
I don't remember, to be honest.
You're playing,
MK1? What's that again? Sorry, my memory stinks. Give me a second, guys. Give me a second. Give me a second.
Decline. See? Just as I thought. You were lecturing me about saying things without proof. You're just giving me a free pass to say whatever I want, whenever I want, silly boy.
Me and my big mouth.
That's the way the cookie crumbles. For you, anyway.
Mortal Kombat 1? Ooh, nice.
Yep, this is the, objection one. Wait. What? I'm a busy woman. Tea time with kids is over. Secret information that no one else knows yet. That's true, then how do you know the secret information? Huh? Well, that's because I'm a pro. Yes, that's it. It's a secret. Even if you drilled a hole into my brain, you'd never find out. How in the world did that old bag get such a secret piece of information?
Sorry, at this part, I actually don't remember, like, at all what the choices are.
It's this one, I think. So no one else is supposed to know this secret information, correct? If that's true, then why do you know it, Miss Oldbag? Why are you looking at me like that? Stop that! Witness? I hate to say it, but this is how you came to acquire your secret info, isn't it?
Lada's camera!
The investigative photographer, Lada Hart. Oh yes, I remember that mischievous girl. She reported that she had lost a certain note she had written to herself. She reported such a thing? On that piece of paper, she had written down some of her impressions about the relationship between the victim and Miss Andrews. What? Outrageous ideas, you say? No, I said impressions. Then everything written on this piece of paper is completely meaningless? Ah, that's it. That's the note. No, you see, this is something completely different. This is my top secret list of groceries to buy.
Just wondering? Just wondering what?
Then you were the one who took the Miss Hart's note? I'm a huge fan of Juan's, that's why. It's an infamous puffy-haired whippersnapper. She's working with that evil Unguard. She said so herself. Unguard, I'm his sidekick. She was so happy, smiling like a silly duck. I was only checking what she had written. Edgy Poo, you believe me, don't you? Yeah. I was only trying to help out like the angel I am. It's only a little piece of paper. I've never taken anything else before. You really should come with a supply of cheese to match your vintage wine. Well, it was only a piece of paper. I suppose we can overlook this just once. She looks like she's really sorry. Should I forgive her? No. Never forgive. If I let up on her now, she'll get away. I have to find some way to inflict a deafening blow to the prosecution. Witness, you said that the only thing you stole was that note. Is this correct? Stole? Why don't you listen more carefully, you annoying brat? I saved this piece of paper from the terrible lonely trash can, that's all. You're lying, damn it, and I can prove it. Are you putting my credibility under scrutiny again? This old bag? I don't believe that. The note is the only thing that you stole that night.
The camera again?
Miss Oldbag, that note was with the camera inside its case, wasn't it?
A camera?
Yesterday, Lotta Hart was raising a huge stink over her camera. She kept saying something like, "My sweetie, 1600 camera disappeared on me." Why, witness. What is it, Gramps? If you have the note, then it is only logical that you have the camera, too. Grrr. Looks like you found me out again, Sonny. Is this the camera you're looking for? Ah, that's... What? Even though I look like this, I'm still a person, you know. I still eat meals like you. I fall in love and borrow things from people. I think your definition of borrow is a little off. I saw that woman's business card, and that's when I noticed it said, Slimeback Celebrity Photographer Extraordinaire. Well, when I saw that, I had to know what sort of picture she had taken. I'm a professional security guard, and it's my business to know these things. Bailiff, check this camera's photos. Hurry! We must examine them at once. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, what do we have? There is only one photo that seems to be relevant to this case. Please present it to the court.
What do you think, guys?
This is the Nickel Samurai. See, I told you, that's the guy I saw. This proves that the witness was not lying earlier about this matter. What does all this mean, Mr. Edgeworth? The photo by itself does not prove that the person in it is the defendant. However, in his own confession, Mr. Ungard clearly stated that, at the time of the murder, he was still in his Nickel Samurai costume. If that is the case, then this Nickel Samurai is... the defendant. How did it come to this? I think this brings us to the end. We have examined every piece of evidence thoroughly. Final comments, Mr. Wright? The court will consider them before we close. Do you agree that this photo is decisive evidence against your client? If this photo really is decisive, then we're done for. But if I raise an objection here and blow it, then I would put my life in jeopardy. I can't make a mistake here. There's only one road out of this mess. This photo that Lotta took, there's something... There's something strange with this photo. I knew this was coming, right? Your thoughts, Mr. Edgeworth? I think we can all agree there is nothing strange with this photo. There is no way for the defense to debunk this photo, even with a bunker buster. Debunk with a bunker buster? Is that what you're planning to do, Mr. Wright? Anyway, please look at the photo one more time. If you really believe you can honestly find something wrong with this photo, then you should only need one chance, correct? Well, I have to find something wrong with this photo. I can't let the chance go by.
Here, we better save it again.
Where in the heck did she take this photo from anyway? It's all out of focus. Why can't you take a good shot, especially when it counts? Now then, let's hear your objection. What about this photo is strange? I think it's right here. I would like to direct the court's attention to this one area right here. What are you pointing to? His ankles? If you could see this person's ankles, that would be one thing. However, you can't. And? What does that mean? This costume person in this photo could not have been at Ungard. Mr. Ungard, what is the meaning of this? I wonder if you would care to elaborate, with actual facts, that is. Let's take a look at the Nickel Samurai's poster. Please pay a particular attention to the area around the bottom of the hakama. His socks. You can see his socks. Exactly. However, in this photo, the Nickel Samurai is clearly holding his hakama up just to walk. There is only one explanation for this. The person inside this costume is clearly much shorter than the defendant. Alright, I think I've turned things around for myself this time. It's curious. Huh? What is? Edgeworth is unusually calm today. That's true. He's just letting the trial run itself, as if he's only along for the ride. Along for the ride? What do you mean by that? I can only guess that perhaps he doesn't feel under attack at all. He doesn't feel under attack? Then I haven't damaged his case at all? Mr. Edgeworth, where does this leave us? If the person in this photo is not Matt Ungard, then everything the prosecution has tried to prove has become meaningless. I figured it would come to this. What? Right. I have something I want to ask you. I think you have proven that the person inside this costume is not Matt Ungard. In that case, who is this a photo of? Who is the person wearing the Nickel Samurai costume? Don't stress out over this, Phoenix. It's very simple. What you should be focused on is Edgeworth's attitude, don't you think? Yeah, why is he so calm? Mr. Wright, let's hear your thoughts. Who is the person in this photograph? I think it's the short Adrian Andrews. Adrian Andrews? If you want to know who that Nickel Samurai is, it is none other than this woman. And why would you say it must be Miss Andrews? What in the world points you to her? For starters, she's short, and she can freely move in and out of Mr. Ungard's room. Finally, she had dinner with Mr. Ungard that night. And how does that all add up? It means that it makes it very easy for her to get a certain item, a certain knife with Mr. Ungard's fingerprints all over it. The knife that was used as a murder weapon. Why don't you just say what it is you want, Mr. Wright? I have to do this now. This is my last chance to turn things around. The defense moves to indict that Miss Adrian Andrews is in the murder of June Corrida. It was Miss Andrews who tried to frame the defendant for the crime. Order, order, order! It looks like this trial has hit a most unexpected development. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor? This court is issuing a subpoena for Miss Adrian Andrews. A verdict cannot be passed without first hearing her with testimony. Alright, this is it. This is kind of bad for us. Huh? What do you mean? If Adrian Andrews is summoned to the court as a witness, it means that the trial will go on for another day. One more day? Ack! If I don't get a verdict today, then Maya... Now then, we shall set Mr. Andrews' testimony for tomorrow. What am I supposed to do? The judge is about to adjourn the court. Now then... Please, Your Honor, continue the trial. You must pass a verdict today. I can't do that. We cannot hear Miss Andrews' testimony if she is not... I abhor wasting such valuable time. Edgeworth? Your Honor, I request that you please continue with today's trial. But, we cannot continue due to this unexpected development. Tisk, tisk. Unexpected development? I think you underestimate me, Your Honor. And what do you mean by that? That Mr. Phoenix Wright would slave his way to subpoenaing Miss Andrews is all happening according to plan, even if Wright was a bit slow to catch on. What? What is the meaning of your statement, Mr. Edgeworth? Miss Adrian Andrews is currently waiting in the prosecution's lobby. She is the next witness. Everything was planned out in advance by that man? Somehow I knew there was no way Edgeworth would overlook Miss Andrews. Looks like this battle is far from over. Exactly. Very well, we will call the next witness. However, before we proceed, we shall take a 10-minute recess. Please prepare your witness in that time, Mr. Edgeworth. The court will now take a 10-minute recess. Whew. So who do you think it is, guys? I pose this question to everyone. Who do you think is the murderer? Is it Miss Andrews? Is she the one? Dude, I can't believe that Adrian... No way. Not cool and collected Miss Adrian Andrews. She is your manager. It would have been very easy for her to pull this off. The only person who had easy access to the knife you used at dinner was, well, her. So after the ceremony, during the break, huh? I was sleeping like a log the entire time. See? She could have also easily planted that blood-covered button in your hakama. Because she was the one that came to wake me up? Then, dude, you're saying it really was her? Yes, she is the real killer. She was the one who murdered Juan Corrida. You feel like everything is pointing in different directions, but it all keeps pointing back to him. Like it's very flimsy. We'll see. You're not sure, Angel Love? We'll see. We'll indict Miss Andrews for now. We gotta do this today, though. But why? I thought she was buds with Juan. She had her own agenda. Her own agenda? What are you talking about? I'm sure you'll see it by the time this trial's over. It'll be alright. I'll get you acquitted by the end of today. Give me a verdict that's refreshing like a spring breeze, okay, Mr. Lawyer Dude? Phoenix, you think her motive is related to Celeste Impact's missing suicide note, right? Yes. Miss Andrews depended on Miss Impax as her strength and reason to live. But Miss Impax suddenly killed herself. It sounds like she left a suicide note, and the person thought to have hidden it is Juan Corrida, the victim of this murder. And that's why I think that Miss Andrews got close to Mr. Corrida, all to get the suicide note back. That sounds plausible. But one thing bothers me. What? Who was it that first told us about their relationship? Better stated, Miss Andrews' dependency issues with regards to Miss Impax. It was Edgeworth. It looks like he's still the one in command of the ship. Don't let your guard down yet.
You know it's censored.
Yeah, don't say who. No, say who. Court will now reconvene. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you please. The prosecution calls the witness supposed by this court, Miss Adrian Andrews, the person who discovered the crime in Mr. Juan Corrida's room. What is your occupation? I am the manager of the defendant in this case, Mr. Matt Ungard. I see. Now then, before we begin, Your Honor, I have one request. Yes, sure, what is it? I'm sure everyone in this room is wondering the same thing, and would love to find out more about my relationship with the victim. After all, it was the topic of a certain weekly magazine recently. No, I have no idea what you mean. I've never even heard of Gossipland. If the judge was ever a prosecution witness, he'd do all my work for me. Anyway, I was wondering if you could please tell us about your relation to the victim. Yes, I was seeing Mr. Corrida. I was also aware of the rivalry that existed between Matt and Juan, but this was a private matter between Juan and myself. So it was a fry and bait matter, or was that bait and fry? Reminds me of fishing. But I didn't kill him. No one is accusing you of that. I think there's someone who would beg to differ. I think we all understand your relationship with the victim now, Miss Andrews. Very well then. Witness, please testify to the court about what happened when you discovered the murder that had taken place. When I found the body. It was the time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. After that, I went to Juan's room, and there was his dead body. I was in shock. What I saw was, naturally, the exact same scene as in the crime scene photo. It felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. You poured yourself a glass of juice? Yes. Sadly, I didn't remember not to touch the things at the scene of the crime, and I disturbed the crime scene by moving this one thing, and that is when the fingerprints on the wine glass were made, Your Honor. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Phoenix. She is one cool and collected customer, and she has the brains to match. Yes, I know. In order to catch a person like her, you have to avoid head-on confrontations. You should disrupt her pacing. Disrupt her pacing? She's the type of woman who is easily thrown off by things inconsistent with her thinking, so you have to attack when she least expects it. The instant you let up on your offense is the instant this trial is over. Understood? Stand. No.
Try this one. Aw, take care, Mafia babe. I'll see you tomorrow, alright? For more shenanigans. Juice? Have a good one. Make sure your head gets better.
Yes, there was a bottle of tomato juice on the table, so I helped myself. But you didn't drink any of it, did you? Huh? There were no lip marks left on this wine glass to suggest that anyone drank from it. I wasn't feeling terribly great, so I set the glass down without drinking it. Doesn't sound like there's any glaring contradictions in her testimony just now. I warned you earlier that she would not crack so easily. Only way to make her is to keep up the offensive and not let up. Only way you're going to catch her is with some very strong, decisive evidence. I have to find something. I just have to, for Maya's sake. So maybe up to objection with the juice. Hey, you! Guess what? Nope, that's not right.
I do have the guide here. I admit I did forget. So I'm going to be referring to the guide a lot for this case. Okay, so we have to do this one.
You were in shock? What? Was I not supposed to be? Miss Andrews is a very calculating person, and despite how close they were, I doubt she had romantic feelings for Mr. Corrida. Anyone randomly stumbling upon a dead body would be in shock, and you can't seriously expect that a young beauty like her would not be shocked. Somehow, I don't think beauty has anything to do with being shocked or not.
I see.
Miss Andrews, I would like to confirm with you one more time. When you discovered the dead body of Juan Corrida, you were in great shock, and that's when you poured yourself a glass of juice, correct? And what of it? My mind really was a complete blank at the time. Your mind was a complete blank? I didn't think that was possible for you. Aren't you rude today? I was so dazed that I made one careless mistake. That one thing. What one thing? Never mind. It's no big deal. What was she starting to say just now? Miss Andrews, I'm convinced that you said you made a mistake at the scene of the crime.
Hang on a minute.
What I really want to know is what this mistake was. Actually, so would I. I'm sorry. It's kind of embarrassing. When I set the glass down on the dresser, I accidentally knocked the flower vase over. Flower vase? Are you talking about the one on the floor in the crime photo? This mess of glass shards? It was originally on top of the dresser, but when I bumped into it with my elbow, it fell onto the guitar case. Why did you withhold such an important piece of information? I'm sorry. I thought that since the crime scene was already in disarray, that people would simply assume the vase was just another part of the mess. Looks like yet another fact has come to light here. Is that this and everything else you have to reveal to your testimony? I'm sorry, but I have nothing more to add. I didn't touch anything else. I was the one who knocked the flower vase over when it fell onto the guitar case. Fell onto the open guitar case? Can I do this yet?
Haha!
You testified that you knocked the flower vase over. Is this correct? Yes. And are you sure it fell onto the guitar case? Is there some problem with what I said? It's not some problem, it's a major problem. It's true that the top of the guitar case was wet with water. However, that's exactly what is so strange. Miss Andrews, you testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case. However, if that were true, the case should have gotten wet on the inside, not the outside. That's very true. Furthermore, there is one other strange thing about this guitar case. And what is that? Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. The remains of the vase are scattered on the floor, and what is wrong with that? If the guitar case was open when the vase fell, the glass shards should be inside, not outside the case. Ah! What is your point, right? That the case was closed at the time the vase was knocked over? Is that all? No. Think back to what Miss Andrews testified to. She said that other than the vase, she didn't touch anything else. Yes, that's right. She didn't implicitly say that she didn't touch the guitar case. But this whole matter with the guitar case is a dead end. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. It has no bearing on this case at all. That may very well be. However, the empty guitar case does seem to have no relation to this case, doesn't it? It seems that there is no deeper meaning to the guitar case. Well, Mr. Wright, do you think we need to hear more details about the guitar case? I assume Maker testify. But I don't remember a lot. The empty guitar case. I believe this is a crucial piece of the puzzle. Heh, I can't believe anyone would reach for straws like this, but it is you. I can't believe I'm doing this either. Alright, I'll follow along, for now. Miss Andrews, please testify to the court about the guitar case. Yes, Your Honor. The guitar case! I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. Not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know. It looks like this really wasn't a very important point. This wastefulness is such a familiar feeling by now that it's almost comforting. Anyway, I'll just go ahead and start the cross-examination. Using anyway to change the topic, a convenient escape for a weak man. This guy, let me tell ya. Don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I must have opened the guitar case. So, you opened the guitar case then? Yes, well, maybe. Why did you open the guitar case? Huh? Mr. Corrida's dead body was right there in front of you, wasn't it? I would think that the first thing you would do is call for help, not open a guitar case. As the witness has said multiple times, when she found the dead body, she was dazed. Maybe I was curious to know if the bright red guitar was alright or not. I thought maybe the criminal took it. Why would she care about the bright red guitar? But, getting back on topic. It's not a big deal, right? The case was empty after all. Was it really empty? I was just wondering if maybe when you opened the case, the guitar was still inside. How long have you been a lawyer, Mr. Wright? Have a little professionalism. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. These trials would be over in half the time if you would just pay attention. Yes, pay more attention, Mr. Wright. Sorry. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know. Was that because you were shocked and dazed at discovering the victim's body? Yes, that's probably it. I'm not going to get anywhere if I continue pressing her like this. Only way to make her talk is with evidence. I guess I should give it a try. Come on, Phoenix, we can't afford to let up on her now. Wasn't planning on letting up, but she's at her weakest now, so this is our chance. Yeah, if we had a weapon to hit her with. Sure, a weapon is hiding somewhere in the court record, waiting to be found. Maybe we'll try this one. It's the statement she said. I mean, maybe we gotta do it at the other one after that, but I don't remember. Ah! There is no way you were the one who opened the guitar case. Why would you say that? It's elementary, my dear. Because the only fingerprints on this guitar case are those of the victim. Ah! Ah! What is it, Miss Andrews? You shouldn't assume that I must have left prints just because I touched the case. What do you mean? What if I were to tell you that I was wearing gloves at the time? Gloves? But why would you be wearing gloves at the time? It was the night of the awards ceremony, so of course I dressed up for the occasion. Yes, now that I remember, I'm almost sure I was wearing a pair of thin gloves. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, it seems the witness was wearing gloves at the scene of the crime. That's strange. You were wearing gloves? Isn't that a little strange? Why is that strange? Do you have something that would prove I was not wearing any gloves at the time? Yep. I have your proof right here. This wine glass. The wine glass? You left your fingerprints very clearly on this wine glass. Ah! Even if you took your gloves off when you poured yourself this glass of juice, wouldn't you think it was just a little strange that you put your gloves back on just to open the guitar case? Ah! Her glasses exploded. Order, order, order! Looks like you hit the nail on the head this time. What do you mean? I believe that guitar case plays a very important role here, but it's just an empty case. I wonder if it really was empty, though. But the guitar, the bright red guitar, was at the studio. Phoenix, drop all of your presumptions. What was in that guitar case? What in the guitar case was not the bright red guitar? You don't mean it was a bright white guitar? Wait, that's not right either. I admit it would be unnatural for someone to do that, so the witness was not wearing gloves despite the fact that on the case. Your Honor, this is obviously the defense's usual misdirection tactic at work. Steer the court toward an unrelated topic and lull us all into his misguided. No, Your Honor. Please recall that Miss Andrews had testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case, which means that the case was closed when the crime took place. However, it is wide open in this photo of the crime scene. I am sure this guitar case has some relation to the murder. If you are so sure, right, then I'm sure you can somehow substantiate your outrageous claim, correct? Please, enlighten us as to why the guitar case has anything to do with this murder. Can you do that, Mr. Wright? Well, let's suppose for a second the bright red guitar was not the only thing that could have been in the case. The bright red guitar not being the only thing? You don't mean to suggest that a bright black guitar was it? So, you intend to push your theory that this case was not empty? Is that it, right? I wouldn't say something that I didn't intend to prove. Deflate that head of yours. You haven't proven anything yet. I might need to save real quick again. Now then, let's have it. What was inside this case at the time of the murder? I think it was this photograph. This is a photograph. Yes, but what is important is what is in that picture, Your Honor. In this picture? It doesn't take a genius to see what I mean. What I am proposing is... Inside the guitar case was the Nickel Samurai, the hero's very own costume. What? But, Mr. Wright, explain yourself. Right. Are you saying that the witness opened the guitar case to take out a costume? What insane point would there be to doing something like that? That insane point would be to wear the costume, of course. Miss Andrews put it on to hide her identity, so she could make her escape. After all, you couldn't let anyone see you leave, could you, Miss Andrews? I refuse to accept your theory. Do you have anything to support such a preposterous idea? Just outside the door was an investigative photographer who was starving for a big scoop. And in the end, she managed to get this shot, correct? You mean this photo? Order! Order! It looks like we've wandered into quite another mess again, haven't we? Nice job, Phoenix. Well, you know my strategy. Speak first, think later. So the real murderer was hiding inside the costume. Well, wait 1 second, Your Honor. The Nickel Samurai's costume would have been Mr. Matt Ungard's. Why would something of the defendant's be in the victim's room, and inside the guitar case of all places? True, that is a little baffling. Mr. Wright, the court would like to hear your thoughts. What was this Nickel Samurai costume doing inside the guitar case? It was stolen, it was a spare costume. I'm gonna try spare? Mr. Ungard did not take his costume off during the break period. In that case, the costume we are talking about was a spare one. What? Then, are you saying that on the night of the murder, there were 2 Nickel Samurai costumes at the Gatewater Hotel? Yes, that is what I am saying. And how do you explain the costume that was inside the guitar case? It would mean that the victim himself had brought this spare to the ceremony on purpose. But why? The victim, Mr. Korida, was the Gemin Ninja. why would he secretly bring the Nickel Samurai spare costume with him? What could be the reason behind such a peculiar act? And therein lies the sticking point. What are you mumbling to yourself about now? Have you just been rambling all this time without any sense of inner monologue? Huh? No, I just... Mr. Wright, please explain yourself. Why do you think the victim had the Nickel Samurai's spare costume? Phoenix, are you sure you can explain this one? Think carefully before you answer, and then answer with gutso. I believe in you. Alright, this is what I think. The reason the victim brought the Nickel Samurai spare costume to the hotel was... the Nickel Samurai is to confess something after the post-ceremony stage show. What is this? On the night of the murder, after the stage show, the Nickel Samurai was going to hold a special press conference. A press conference? Yes, the Nickel Samurai was supposed to confess something at this conference. I heard about this as well. For once, you are not making something up, right? But what struck me as strange was that Mr. Ungard himself said he had no idea he was supposed to be holding a press conference that night. But how can that be? The way I see it, that can only mean one thing. The conference was a setup. By none other than the victim, Mr. Juan Corrida himself. The victim? Yes. The spare Nickel Samurai costume was prepared for that very conference. Mr. Corrida was going to hold the press conference as the Nickel Samurai. He was going to dress up as the Nickel Samurai and hold a conference? But why would the victim do such a thing? That's something I don't quite know yet. However, what I am concerned with right now is what he intended to reveal at that conference. The Nickel Samurai was going to confess something? And by confess, I'd wager he was going to reveal something about himself. Which means that Juan Corrida, posing as the Nickel Samurai, was going to speak about Matt Ungard. Yes, I guess that is what it would mean. But if that's the case, that's not a confession, that's public disclosure. Miss Andrews, I can see why you are pros at what you do. Pardon me? Yes, just as you say, the press conference was set up by Juan. Miss Andrews, please offer us an explanation for this. I was the one he asked to help set it up, and the person who prepared the second costume for him. That was also me. You? Juan had bet everything on the Gemin Ninja this year, and if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought anyway. He was going to ruin him, huh? It looked like somehow Juan had his hands a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed. What? And do you know what the secret of Mr. Ungard's is, Miss Andrews? That's something only Juan knew. I don't know what it is. I see. I've probably been coming off quite suspicious to everyone, but that's to be expected. I've been trying to protect Matt, after all. Protect Mr. Ungard? And yet again, another strange bit of truth comes to light, it seems. Miss Andrews, if you could, please tell us the truth about your behavior. Yes, Your Honor, I understand. Protecting Matt. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Matt had to kill Juan no matter what, and he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the button and the knife. But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt like I had to protect him.
This does account for everything.
Well, I am the logical type. We're finally seeing her true self. She is more nervous than a scared rabbit.
If the defense can find no fault with this testimony, I am ready to make a ruling. Please keep that in mind as you cross-examine, Mr. Wright.
Looks like somehow everything has swung to the opposite end of the scale again. That just means I have to put my weight into this and turn her
logic upside down.
From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Matt had to kill Juan no matter what, and he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. The thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the button and the knife. There it is. You can hardly call the knife decisive evidence. The fingerprints on the knife could very well be a clever camouflage. Then, what about the button? The button? It's clear from the crime scene that the victim and his murderer fought, and during the fight, the killer ripped the button from the Gemin Ninja's costume. You're talking about this button, correct? That button was found in the pleats of Matt Hakama, isn't that correct? I would think that makes it very decisive evidence. Urk. Looks like you were outfoxed again, Mr. Wright. Anyway, the knife doesn't prove a thing. Please fix your testimony. I can't stand the sight of a man who can't gracefully accept his defeat. Thank goodness Mia can still look at me. With an icy stare, yes. Miss Andrews, for Mr. Wright's sake, please add this information to your testimony. The button was torn off of Dwan during his fight with Matt. Really? Was it now? Because... This is the victim's autopsy report. It clearly states that the cause of death was strangulation by a scarf. Strangulation? The knife stab to the victim was done after the victim had already died. And what does that mean? Let's examine the evidence. This button has the victim's blood on it, which would mean that it was ripped off of the costume. When? After the knife was stabbed into the victim. Exactly, which means... It is impossible that this button was torn off during the victim's final struggle, because the victim was strangled to death in that fight. Ah! That's right, Miss Andrews. There is no way this button was ripped off during the struggle. This button was consciously pulled off of the victim's already dead body. Order! What is the meaning? What is the meaning of this, right? So what if the button was torn off of the body after the victim had already died? What does that change? Let me ask you one simple question, Mr. Edgeworth. Why was the button torn off? What purpose did that serve? What purpose? We now know this button was not torn off during the fight, so the murderer took the time and effort to purposely rip this from the victim's body. That would mean that the murderer had something in mind, wouldn't it? Mr. Wright, what does this mean? Or does this mean? Does this mean you know what the murderer wanted to do with the button? What was it? To pin the crime on Enguarde! On guard! There is only one logical reason for doing something like that. It was to pin the crime on Mr. Enguarde. There is no way anyone would put a bloodied button on their own pants. That's right, Mr. Enguarde was set up. By the real killer, of course. And the real murderer is... Well, Mr. Wright, who in the world is the real killer, then? Finally, I can't believe I've managed to bring this trial all the way up to this point. Phoenix, you can't let your guard down yet. Not until the very end. The real killer, the person who planned to frame Mr. Enguarde is... It's Miss Andrews! Miss Adrian Andrews. I choose you! You are Mr. Corridor's killer! What? I choose you! Pokemon reference! Woo! Order! Mr. Wright, this is a very grave matter. Do you have any evidence that supports your charge? Any evidence? All of the evidence points to Miss Andrews. What? How preposterous. You can't stick any of that on me. I can't, can I? Would you care to test me? Then what about this knife? The knife was used to stab the victim after he had already been strangled to death. It was used to throw suspicion onto Mr. Enguarde, naturally. A knife covered in the defendant's fingerprints could only be taken from his room. And the only one who had dinner with him and knew which knife to take was you. Tisk! But then, what about the button that was found in Matt's Hakama? This button was removed from the victim's body after he had already died. The only people who could have done so were the person who found his body or the killer. However, if Mr. Enguarde was the real killer, there is no way he would have to put such indiscriminating evidence in his own Hakama. The only person who could have put this button into Mr. Unguard's Hakama is the person who went to wake him up from his nap, which is you yet again, Miss Andrews. I see. What about the empty guitar case? That is also another piece of evidence that incriminates Miss Andrews. That costume was used to hide the real killer's identity as they fled the crime scene. Now, who could have known that there was just a costume, such a costume, inside the guitar case? It could only have been the person who prepared the costume for the victim. And that person is you, Miss Adrian Andrews. No, But Miss Andrews' fingerprints were nowhere to be found on the guitar case. Hang on a minute. Give me a second, guys. And it was you who proved that she was not wearing gloves at the time. That's right. That's because she did not intend on leaving any prints. If anyone had found out that she had touched the case, they would have asked her why. So to avoid leaving any prints, she used a towel or something to open it. But the glass of tomato juice is a different story. Miss Andrews purposely left her fingerprints on the glass to show that, yes indeed, she was the classic dazed discoverer of a dead body. Ah! And to top it all off, there's this photo. A photo of the killer as they exited the scene of the crime. No reasonable person on Earth can believe this nickel samurai is Mr. Unguard. He would be much too short for his own costume if it was him. Speaking of how tall people are, Miss Andrews, you're also kind of short in stature, are you not? Please, stop! Well, how about it, Miss Andrews? I've got her this time. Miss Andrews? I refuse to testify. What was that? There's a law. It says I can't be forced to testify about something if it can incriminate me. Well, yes. You are absolutely correct, Miss Andrews. The law does provide us with a way to avoid self-incrimination by allowing a witness to not testify if the testimony can cause damage to themselves. What? Pleading the fifth is not something most people would think to do on the spot. Actually, thinking back to yesterday in Mr. Unguard's room. Adrian Andrews. Yes? Think hard about what we just discussed. Understood? Alright. Pleading the fifth. She's doing it now. That's it. That's when Franziska planted this idea into her head. She must have told Miss Andrews to not testify if things look bad. You did a great job proving everything up to this point, Phoenix. But there is still one thing you haven't done. Something I haven't done? What's wrong, right? Are you finished already? Run out of evidence? What is so humorous, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm sure you realize this as well, Your Honor. But everything the good lawyer here has proven up to this point is meaningless. What? Everything you have proven is circumstantial. Circumstantial? Yes, circumstantial. You have yet to provide a single piece of definitive proof. Proof that Miss Andrews did in fact harbor a wish to murder Mr. Corrida. What's wrong, right? Oh, Edgeworth. Miss Andrews, did you want to kill Mr. Corrida? I believe this may lead me to me incriminating myself, so I will abstain from answering. But Miss Andrews, if you do that, it would be the same as admitting your guilt, don't you think? Maybe so, or maybe not. There is nothing to prove it either way. Besides, you don't even know what crime I would be guilty of due to my silence. No, she's taking that defiant attitude again. But Mia, what should we do? Somehow, we've landed in the worst possible situation. I think we have reached a certain conclusion at this point in time. Miss Adrian Andrews has refused to testify, and the defense's theory that she is the actual murderer has not been fully substantiated with solid definitive proof. But that's not true. In the situation, there is only one thing this court can do, and that is to declare a recess. Recess? A request that both the prosecution and the defense look further into this matter. and that at tomorrow's trial... Tomorrow?
Uh-oh. Feel like they have to restrain themselves from using that one too often.
Yep.
We don't have a tomorrow.
We don't get a not guilty verdict today, then. Please wait, Your Honor. That's not necessary. The trial. Please continue the trial. What are you sweating for? Your client is getting one more day to live, isn't he? That's not it. This isn't about that. Edgeworth, I know you know who the real killer is. Please, let the trial continue. If I don't get the verdict, then Maya... But it's impossible to continue as long as the witness refuses to testify. Now then, this court is... Oh... It is not impossible for this trial to continue. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you... It's true Miss Andrews holds the rights against her self-incrimination. However, if the topic of conversation was something unrelated to whatever she may be guilty of, then she has no right to withhold testimony. Yes, that is very true. But, actually, there is one little thing I'm curious about. Miss Andrews. When you found the victim's dead body, you poured yourself a glass of juice. Yes, and I can't help but think how unnatural that is. Usually when one finds a body, they are shaken up, not stirring a glass of juice. So my actions were unusual, but I've already... Before you speak, I want to state that if you have a reason behind your actions, I would like to have you testify to that effect. Testify? Your Honor, I would like to request that the witness testify again as to what happened when she first discovered the victim's body. Whatever we find out in this testimony should in no way implicate the witness. I don't know what it is about Edgeworth today, but I can't get a good read off of him. Is he friend or foe? I just don't know. The court acknowledges the prosecution's request. Miss Andrews, if you please. That glass of juice, I didn't really pour it for myself. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in the messy state. And Juan, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something, so I went to pour him some juice. When I realized that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over. I see a very obvious contradiction here. So you poured that glass of juice for the victim. Why didn't you say so in your earlier testimony? I didn't think I needed to include something so trivial. Phoenix, please be careful here. If you can't find anything wrong with his testimony, then there's nothing left. I know. Edgeworth, what in the heck is going on in that brain of yours? Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. Really? Looking at this didn't cross your mind that he was dead. Huh. So, you honestly didn't think he was dead when you found him? No, not at all. Even though this is what you saw when you discovered the body? Ah! What is the meaning of this? Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? There is a knife sticking straight out of Mr. Corrida's chest. Anyone who saw this scene would have immediately thought that here was a dead man. Well, you see... I doubt a single person in the world would mistake this for someone who fainted. And then so nonchalantly go pour something to drink. Your point is, Miss Andrews, your testimony just now, it was all one giant lie. Ah! And your lie has proven one thing very clearly, that you are the real killer. No! It looks like the defense has somehow brought the ugly truth to light. The defendant, Mr. Matt Ungard, is not guilty after all. But that's impossible. You're wrong. But Miss Andrews, try to have some composure. It wasn't me. It wasn't me, I tell you. It was Matt, I swear it. He's the one who killed Juan. But you were the one who refused to testify, and your reason for not doing so was that it might end up incriminating yourself. That's because... Miss Andrews, I will give you one last chance. What exactly are you hiding that may incriminate you? I refuse to testify. Crazy, huh, Mick? Isn't this crazy? Then there is no need for this court to continue any further. Mr. Matt Unguard's innocence has been clearly demonstrated. Is it over? Have we found the truth at last? What's wrong, Phoenix? Usually the real killer confesses his or her guilt. And now that I think about it, this is the first time someone hasn't. Now then, I would like to hand down my verdict for Mr. Matt Unguard. Oh. Your Honor, the prosecution feels that it would be premature to pass down a verdict at this time. What? The reason is quite simple. This witness has yet to speak the absolute real truth. The absolute real truth? Where are you... Witness, don't you understand yet? Huh? I don't know who planted this silly idea into your head, but as long as you protect yourself through your silence, Matt Unguard will go free, and in his place, you will become the guilty party. But that's a lie. I don't believe you. What? I was told if I spoke, then it would be all over, and Matt would never be declared guilty. What in the world is she talking about? Has she lost it? I can't speak about it. I'm too scared. It's Franziska von Karma. Huh? Don't you remember, Phoenix? Miss Andrews lives by gripping tightly onto the words of another, because she doesn't have the strength to believe in herself. Then, right now, Miss Andrews is... Yesterday, she was tossed a lifesaver by Miss von Karma. Don't say a word, no matter what happens. If you do, Matt Unguard will be acquitted. Miss Andrews undyingly believes in those words right now, and is clinging onto them. But then what should we do? This is the first time I've ever come across anything like this. But Miss Andrews has to be the killer, right? All we have to do now is get our not guilty. That is my only priority. It wasn't me. I'm begging you. Please believe me. I didn't kill Juan. Help. Please. Someone. Help me. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor? The court can't continue like this. Therefore, I'd like to hear what you intend to do. What I intend to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? Right. Suggest you think very carefully about this. Think about what this witness did and what she did not do. And think about who is the real mastermind behind this crime. Who's the real mastermind? Isn't it obvious? There's no one else it could be except that woman crying over there, right? One more time. One more time! Come now, what will you do? What kind of man are you, Mr. Phoenix Wright? Testify more. I have to win a complete Ataquil today. There's no way around that. But I can't bring myself to do it like this. Not when she's making a face like that. Miss Andrews, I would like to know what you are really hiding. But Mr. Wright, are you sure you know what you're doing? Sure, Mr. Unguard would get an acquittal, but in his place you would be found guilty. Is this how you really want this trial to end? But be quiet. How dare you? You're trying to trick me. That's enough. I commend you for trying, Mr. Edgeworth. However, it's clear that the defense's theory is the truth. You're wrong. What a shame. I had hoped things wouldn't come to this. However, what is it, Mr. Edgeworth? Miss Andrews, since you absolutely refuse to testify, it falls on my shoulders to disclose this to the court. Stop! But, Mr. Edgeworth! This witness, how should I put this? She has an illness. What? And because of this illness, she has tried to commit suicide in the past. Stop! Please stop! No matter how much you want to hide it, it's no use. I have the evidence right here. That's the second part of the suicide report. The attempted suicide report. What will you do now, witness? You know what I am about to do, don't you? I will now reveal to the court the true nature of the pitiful woman known as known as Adrian Andrews. The secret of her dependent nature. Having other people know about it scares her more than anything else in the world. Please, please stop! I beg you! If people find out, I'll... If you're going to say you would choose death, that is of no concern to me. Edgeworth, how can you be so cold? However, before you die, I will pull the truth from your still breathing lips, no matter what I have to do. So, will you tell the court yourself or shall I? Either is fine with me. I'll talk, but please, help me. Nothing matters anymore. Whew. When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted, honest. When I realized he was dead, that was when I formulated my plan. Once I made sure that there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room, and then I stabbed Juan's dead body with the knife and ripped off the button. Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience, and that's why I ended up using the Nickel Samurai costume. So stabbed the body with the knife? But why would you do that? Isn't it obvious to pin the blame on a certain person, a certain cowardly man? What do you mean by all of this? It might take this court a little while to understand, but this is the truth. The real killer is Matt. That scumbag of a man. I'll never forgive him. He's trying to escape his guilt again, just like last time. Last time? So Miss Andrews stabbed the victim, Juan Corrida, in the chest with the knife. However, she didn't do it with the murder in mind. She did it with the intent of framing Matt Ungard for the murder. And this is her crime. What? How is this possible? I mean, wasn't Miss Andrews supposed to be the real murderer? Mr. Wright, please get over your shock and commence the cross-examination. My crime! When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted, honest. But you could tell from the state of the room was in that there must have been a fight. Are you telling the truth when you say you did not know he was dead? He had a scarf tied around his neck, but that scarf is part of the Gemin Ninja's costume, so I didn't think anything about it was strange. His head was also tilted down a bit, so I couldn't see his face that well. That's why I thought I'd wake him up, and went to pour the juice. When I realized he was dead, that was when I formulated my plan. What is this plan you had? I knew right away the murderer was Matt. I knew because, one, he was going to expose Matt's weakest weak point to the world, so Matt did this to stop Juan and silence him for good. That's when I thought I should forge some evidence and pin this crime on Matt. So the forged pieces of evidence were the knife and the button. The first thing that came to mind was to plant the knife. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room. That was so you could get to the knife, correct? The knife that Matt used at dinner had his fingerprints all over it. Thought if I used that, then the police would certainly turn their eyes toward him. Matt was napping with his costume on at the time. I slipped in, took the knife, and returned to the scene of the crime. And then I stabbed Juan's dead body with the knife and ripped off the button. So you were the one to stab the victim with that knife. It gives me goosebumps to think about it now. What a horrible thing I did. But at the time, I couldn't control my own body. It moved on its own. And when I stabbed Juan's dead body, I suddenly realized something. If I used the button somehow, I could make Matt look even more suspect. So you thought to rip one of the buttons off and then plant it in Mr. Ungard's Hakama? Yes, that's what I had planned to do, but things never go that smoothly, do they? Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. An inconvenience? There was a woman with his camera at the ready, loitering in the hallway. I'm willing to bet my spikes it was Lotta. There was also a woman with a ray gun at the ready, pacing back and forth. That's Miss Oldbag for you. I had already been caught and made into a big scoop for a certain weekly tabloid once, so I couldn't very well go out looking like myself and get caught again. and that's why I ended up using the Nickel Samurai costume. You were the one who prepared that costume, weren't you? Yes, I took it from Global Studios. I also put it into Juan's guitar case the day before the award ceremony. You did this in preparation for the press conference, correct? Yes, Juan wanted to wear that costume and hold a press conference in it. He was going to disclose Matt's big secret there. And what is the secret? That, I don't know. Anyway, I thought that if I were to leave Juan's room in the Nickel Samurai costume, then people would think that Matt was the real murderer. I was very careful not to leave any fingerprints when I opened the guitar case. Absolutely did not want anyone to know about the costume. I think we've heard enough. So, after that, you went back to Mr. Unguard's room and planted the button? Into Matt's Hakama? Yes. After that, I folded up the costume I was wearing and put it into the bag. Then I snuck it out of the hotel and got rid of it. My word, what does this all mean? Mr. Edgeworth, is it? The real criminal is Matt Unguard. Yesterday, that woman prosecutor sent me down for a talk. Franziska, huh? She said that I should under no circumstances confess to what I had witnessed, or done. That's if I just kept quiet, then Matt would be found guilty for sure. I had no choice but to believe in her words. What this witness has done is clearly unlawful. However, as long as her testimony stands, we can be certain she is not the real killer. But wait, Your Honor, the defense still... Right. It's pointless. At this point in time, it is not possible to indict Miss Andrews on anything. Yes, exactly. There isn't a single piece of evidence that points to her as the murderer. The cross-examination of the witness is over, and so is today's trial. You couldn't establish that witness was the culprit. Please let it go, Mr. Wright. But... Mr. Edgeworth, please place Miss Andrews under arrest for further questioning. Understood, Your Honor. The prosecution will arrange for her detention immediately. That is all. Court is adjourned for today. Oh no. That's not good, guys. Judge is gone. So is the audience. Today's trial. It's over. And I didn't win an acquittal. Witness, would you mind if I ask you something? Edgeworth? What is it? Before you leave court today, I wondered if I might look at one thing. That card in your hand. It had my interest for quite some time now. What exactly is it? Oh, this? Mr. Wright also asked about this. Although I didn't remember at the time you asked me about it, Mr. Wright, I remember just now. I found this in the room on that day. The room? That day? Yes. I found this card when I discovered Juan's body. It was lying there right next to him. You found that card next to the victim's body? I suppose I must have unconsciously slipped it into my pocket. But it's not as if this card has any relevance to Juan's murder, right? Yeah, I guess not. But it's still a strange card, if you ask me. But as far as a clue to this case, I don't see why... Oh. Witness! That card! Give it to me! Hurry! Edgeworth? Do you have any idea what you have stupidly yet inadvertently done? This can't believe you hid this from me all this time! I didn't mean to. What is this all about? I've never seen Edgeworth so emotional before. That card. What in the world is it? And what does it mean? So what next, guys? Who is the murderer? And what is anything? What is even the things anymore, you know? Mystic Maya! Mystic Maya! Sniffle, sniffle! The killer is? You think he's the one? There, Pearls. I can't take it anymore. Wah! Look, it'll be alright. Everything may still work out. The condition was that we had to get a not guilty verdict. And so far, the kidnapper has kept his word and hasn't hurt Maya. And he won't because Mr. Ungard hasn't been given a guilty sentence yet.
Sniffle, sniffle.
Cheer up, we don't have time to stand around crying. We have to get going. You're right. Mystic Maya is in much more pain than I am. Yes, that's right. So, hey, you guys, glad I caught you, pal. But, Mr. Scruffy Detective.
Maya found the card, it was left at the scene, so whoever he is,
He's the killer. But how are we gonna, get him to the stand or something? Oh boy, looks like Detective Gumshoe has been dubbed Mr. Scruffy Detective in Pearls' book now. It's just plain old Mr. Dick Gumshoe now, and I came to talk to you, pal. But we're kind of busy right now. So, what are you going to do from now on? What do you mean, pal? Well, you've been fired, right? So, do you have a new job lined up yet? Oh, that. What am I supposed to do now, pal? I don't have anything coming in at all until my next payday. What are you talking about? You don't have another payday. Guess that means I'm just gonna have to work here at your place, pal. Say what? You'll be searching for things that will prove Mr. Ungard's innocence all day, right?
good theory, but the card is for business. Given to one for a big check he has.
Sure. Don't say anything else though, D. Williams, please. No hints or anything. But well, yeah. So yeah, I'm going to help you, pal. I've got lots of experience in investigating and watching over people's places. And I'm great at making really simple meals, pal. I'll take care of it all. Come on, Mr. Nick. Let's let Mr. Scruffy Detective take care of things. Okay. By the way, what's your best dish? Instant noodles, pal. Why am I surrounded by people who only eat cheap, unhealthy foods? That was the first time I've ever seen Mr. Edgeworth act like that. Never thought he'd say something like he didn't care if Miss Andrews killed herself.
Oh my god.
I'm going crazy. He said that? That's horrible. But because of him doing that, we got the truth finally. The truth. Miss Andrews' last testimony. Wonder if that was the truth. I'll give you that there was nothing changed in her testimony itself. But I still think there's something fundamentally wrong with this whole thing. You mean that about that thing, pal? Why would she want to, almost need to frame Mr. Ungard? I couldn't figure that out from anything she said all day. I gotcha. Then you're saying that testimony was a lie? Not a lie, per se. It just feels like there's more here than meets the eye. Or that's what Edgeworth would like us to believe. That's such a dirty trick. Even that woman prosecutor was better than that. Franziska von Karma. Speaking of Miss von Karma, do you have any more information on her condition? Wasn't she shot this morning? Miss von Karma was shot today on the way to the trial by a pistol, pal. But she's going to be fine, right? I mean, Edgeworth said she was in stable condition, but... Well, she was shot in the shoulder, so she's okay and still hanging in there. They should be done taking the bullet out, so she's probably resting at the hospital. Which one? What? Are you going to visit her, pal? No. Well, I was kind of thinking about it. Hey, you actually got a heart, don't you? She looked like she was being tortured to death not being able to go to the trial today. So maybe it'd be good for her if you went and let her whip you for a bit, pal. Let's go let her whip us, Mr. Nick. No, I'm definitely not going. Let's see. The name of the hospital. Oh yeah, the Hottie Clinic. That name sends a chill down my spine. Well, I guess it can't hurt to stop by and say hi. Alright. To the Hottie Clinic. Never thought I'd ever come back to this place. Yes, are you here to visit a patient? Hi. Wait a second, you're... yes, I'm Director Hottie. Ho-ho. Why are you still here? Yes, what is it? Can I help you? You can tell me. Yes. Director Hottie. Edgeworth. Yes, I'm Director Hottie. Ho-ho. Oh, you're the man from this morning. Yes. What is it? Director, Franziska. How is Franziska von Karma? You don't need to worry. Yes, she's in good hands. Because, you see, I'm personally taking good care of her. Yes, hee. Yes, and that surgery, it went well. You have my gratitude. Looks like Edgeworth doesn't know about this director and his secret. She looks so pitiful, almost terrified. Yes. But I understand. Yes, her opponent was a gun after all. And when I snuck up on her real secret like, she would scream really loud. Yes. I see. But she's really cute too. When I do that, she'd whip me with her whip. Boy, did I cry like a baby. Yes, but I think I could get used to it. Go back to your room. You're so mean. So mean, my frisky Friska. But that's good to... Okay. Yes, it's time for my IV drops. Yes. And what are those tulips doing in your hands, Mr. Phoenix Wright? I knew I shouldn't have come here. By the way, Manfred von Karma was shot with a pistol in the shoulder, and so was his daughter. Crazy how things come about, huh? I was shot in front of the courthouse in my right shoulder. But it's no big deal. This sort of thing happens all the time. Even had full intentions of running the trial this morning. But that would have been too much for you. There's no need to act tough in front of us, you know. Regardless, I was dragged here by that man over there. He was so unyielding. One has to wonder if he was simply interested in stealing my case. Like father, like daughter, apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Yes, indeed. It was the only logical course of action given the bullet was still lodged in your shoulder. But by taking over the case, I found myself having to clean up after you and that irresponsible deal you made. I think I know what deal he's referring to. Miss Von Karma, you made a deal with Miss Andrews yesterday, didn't you? I don't know what you mean. In order to make sure you got your guilty verdict on Mr. Ungard, you told Miss Andrews to not testify in court today. I don't know what you're talking about. Do you have a proof that I made such a deal? You're denying it? It looks like you were lucky, Mr. Phoenix Wright. If I had been in court today, this trial would already be over. All while hiding Miss Andrews' own crime. That isn't my problem, whether she has tampered with the evidence or not. I have only one objective, to find Ungard guilty of murder. The end justifies the means, Mr. Phoenix Wright. The end justifies the means. Miss Von Karma, Adrian Andrews believed you when you said, if you don't tell the truth of what really happened, then Ungard will be found guilty. And what does that have to do with me? Because of that, she is now in danger of being found guilty herself. All because she believed in your words until the very end. Still has nothing to do with me. She's just a weak person. That's all. But you had to know she was... Ow! I think visiting hours here are about over, so if you'll excuse me... What's wrong? Why did she suddenly cut you off? Probably because she thinks I have the advantage in that argument. Edgeworth. What happened today at the trial, Edgeworth? That was not like you at all. I mean, I know you knew about Miss Andrews' condition. You could have made her testify as many times as you wanted, but to go that far? But she wouldn't testify about that until I said something. Listen, Wright, the courtroom is a garden of judgment. I am putting myself on the line when I stand in there, and that's why I made the witness do the same. It's only natural. The card. By the way, Edgeworth, you were really angry in court today. That's rare for you. Witness, that card. Give it to me. Hurry. Do you have any idea what you have stupidly and inadvertently done? This. I can't believe you hid this from me all this time. That card. What in the world is it? You mean this? Listen, Wright. This is top secret information. You absolutely cannot leak this. A special investigation team has existed for a number of years, but few know of it. I understand. Their task is to find the owner of this card, a man called Shelley the Killer. And just as his name states, he is a killer, an assassin, the best at that. An assassin? I call myself the Killer, but I never added the Shelley part. So who is this Shelley the Killer? The Killer is the name of a long-standing line of assassins. Long-standing? The name first appeared about 100 years ago, I hear. For good reason. Yep. Shelley is the professional name of the third heir to the Killer name. So because his professional name is Shelley, he leaves cards with a shell on them? He has a habit of making sure to leave a card by the body of his victims. Why would he do something like that? We think it's a part of his duty to his clients. His duty? If he leaves a card, then his client can be assured it was he who killed the victim. It also serves as insurance against any charges being pushed onto his clients. I see. The killer values trust between his clients and himself above all else. It seems that this is one honorable assassin with a moral conscience. I guess that even honorable assassins can exist.
I mean, look at Assassin's Creed.
I think. So, you think he's the one who did the killing in this case? It would appear that way. This discovery of the card just basically confirms it, wouldn't you agree? Shelley the killer, huh? I noticed something at the trial today. You were behaving in a very strange manner. Is something the matter? I guess I should just tell him. Maya, she's been kidnapped. Kidnapped? What does the kidnapper want? An acquittal. I see. I had no idea. I will prepare a rescue team as soon as possible and resolve this by tomorrow. Really? Did you hear that, Mr. Nick? Mr. Edgeworth is going to... Stop trying to console me, Edgeworth. I don't need your pity. Mr. Nick? There's no way you can find her. We don't even have a single lead to go on. There's only one way to save her. I have to get an acquittal somehow. It's the only way. Right. Listen, you need to know something. Juan Corda was killed by Shelley the Killer, and the client who ordered the job is Matt Ungard, your own client. Please stop. I can't listen to you. I can't believe that. I see. Well, if you want to continue your investigation, you will need this. What is it? The hotel right now is restricted to police personnel only, as we are looking for any clues that might lead us to the Shelley the Killer. But if you take this with you to the hotel, I'm sure they will let you enter. In any case, I must attend to the preparations for Maya's rescue team. We'll meet again. If anything should happen, now if you'll excuse me. Mr. Nick, do you think Mr. Ungard hired an assassin? No way. I mean, he doesn't have a psych lock. Yeah, I guess not. Maya, please, all I ask is you make it home, safe and sound. Meanwhile, at the Castle of Doom. I guess even kidnappers can be a little clumsy. Clumsy enough to drop a card like this for me, and even though he said he was an assassin, I bet he's just making that up, like how Nick does with everything in court. Anyway, let's try out the card trick with this card I just found. Click! Sounds like I got the door open. Okay, time to go take a look around. Whoops. Whoa. Where are we now? What is this place? I've got a feeling I'm not in the hotel anymore. Are those videos over there? Well, I'll worry about that later. For now I should be looking for clues. That way I can show them to Sis and maybe get out of here. Oh, there's some clues. Like what's this? There's a framed picture sitting on this coffee table. It's a picture of a woman. She's kind of pretty. Hey, looks like something's written here. Let's see. I think it says, "With love, Celeste." I bet this could be a clue. Cool.
That points to a certain someone.
The teddy bear? It points to someone, alright. That's weird. What's a figurine doing on a sofa in a place like this? I think it's a bear. Aw, how cute. But it's got a lot of cuts and slits on it. I wonder if it's some kind of puzzle or something. What do we got here? Locked, of course. And it doesn't look like I can use the card to open this door. There's a little hole at the bottom of the door. If only I was a little skinnier, then maybe I'd be able to crawl through there. Darn. Oh, hey, it's a computer. I've never really used one before. I have no idea where the power switch on this thing is. Drat, there goes my plan to use this to somehow get out of here. What is this thing? An antenna? I guess? And this is a VCR? There sure are a lot of electronic gadgets here. What is an antenna doing here? Oh, this simply will not do. I cannot have you wandering around at will. Yeah! It seems that your Mr. Wright is truly concerned about you. He is? For now, I would suggest you remain cooperative. If you cannot, there are ways in which I can help you. Ways? You mean, dead men tell no tales, is how the saying goes, correct? Dead? I'm almost certain I told you on our first meeting. I am an assassin. No way. You're lying. I mean, an assassin? People are not always who they appear to be. Nick! Mr. Nick? Oh, yes, Pearls? Got caught up in my thoughts about Maya's situation. Mr. Edgeworth has left, so, you know, I guess for now I have no choice but to believe in Mr. Ungard. But I think I should listen to his story one more time. Alright, let's get going too. Okay. Okay. No, not you. Let's go to criminal affairs. I need to speak with some people here. Wow, everybody looks really busy with something or another. They're probably strengthening the evidence for tomorrow's trial. Hey, hurry up with that, will you? Pass the victims list around. You gotta be kidding, there's over 100 people on here. Mr. Nick, is Mr. Ungard really that big and bad of a criminal? Actually, Pearls, never mind. It sounds like they're working on a different case. This must be the chief of the detectives here. He's glued to his computer screen. What? Prosecutor Von Karma was shot in front of the courthouse. What? Who did it? Who shot her? I have a sneaking suspicion that even Gumshoe could do this guy's job. That must be one of the detectives. He's mumbling something to himself. Very well. Now why don't you want to work for our company? Well, that would have to be because I feel like I would like to help this company grow. He must be doing image training for his corporate interviews. Very interesting, guys. I'm sorry, but visiting hours are over for today. Aww. Arg, I have too many questions I need to ask. I'm sorry, but I'm Phoenix Wright, a lawyer for one... You're Mr. Wright, you say? Oh yeah, there's a message here for you. A message? It's from Matt Ungard. Ah, here you are. What did he write? Is it something really important? I don't know. Well, let's see what it has to say. To Mr. Lawyer Dude, I've got something really important to tell you. Why do I feel uneasy all of a sudden? Oh, Mr. Wright. So actually, I have a favor to ask of you. I have this cat named Shu. I didn't put out a lot of food when I left the house, so he's probably pretty hungry. You think you could drop by my house and feed Shu for me, dude? My house is just a little ways down from the hotel, alright? This is terrible. Let's hurry. We have to feed his cat. I'm sure poor Shu's stomach is growling by now. Yeah, I guess. A client request is a request. Guess I should go check up on his cat. A kitty cat, guys. A kitty cat. We have to save the kitty cat. Alright now, Mr. Nick. Let's have a look for clues. We have to for Mystic Maya's sake. You shall not pass. Gasp, Miss Oldbag. Don't divulge my name and turn it into a guess, you spiky-headed pettifogger. Because of you, I've been made to look like the bad guy again, although I did get a piece of gum from Edgy Boy, just as he promised. But what I really wanted was something more valuable. I wanted it to his heart. I wanted it all for me. It's all your fault. You've awakened the wild beast inside of this old bag. Arrgh. Ah, Miss Oldbag. Keep your hands off of me. This helmet is airtight. No air gets in and no air gets out. Then why do you keep putting it on? Don't think you can get me to move with silly questions. You're going to have to defeat me if you want to get by. I'm not hearing this. Yep. Here you go. Maybe if I show this letter to I got from Edgeworth. Miss Oldbag, if you would look at... What? You want me to look at this worthless piece of... Edgy poo. Is that her perfume? Pherome d'Amour I smell? Shudder. Let's see here. Would you please allow this unsophisticated young person to conduct his investigation? Yours truly, Miles Edgeworth. Yours truly? That man's good at flattery. Fine, but only because Edgy Poo said so, you understand? Given to Miss Oldbag. I just thought of something I have to do. Remember, no messing around. You do anything bad and I won't let you off the hook. It looks like she has a strong feelings for Mr. Edgeworth. That may be, but you know nothing's going to come of it. That's so mean, Mr. Nick. Feelings are meant to be told and shared. Ow. Every time we talk about love, I always end up with a handprint on my face somehow. So anyway, let's continue our investigation. Okay. What now? One little thing, before I forget, you can't go into Unguard's room today. Why? The police's main investigation team is going to be in there all day, you hear? I wonder if they're the team in charge of investigating the killer. So don't go in there. Set one foot in there and you'll face the wrath of Wendy Oldbag. Well, there you have it. Let's go to the living room first. You know, to Unguard's living room. Sure is dark. I'll go turn on a light. Whoa. Wow, so this is what a starless house looks like? Must be nice to be rich. Come on, Mr. Nick. Let's find Shoo, the kitty cat. Shoo! Aww, it's cute. So I guess this is Shoo. Hi, what a lovely cat. Hello, Shoo. Tee-hee. The cat seems to like pearls. Pardon me. May I help you with something, mister? Oh, we're lawyers. Actually, I'm Mr. Unguard's lawyer. The master's... Then you must be Mr. Wright. Yes. Ah, it's a pleasure to meet your wonderful self. I am the family butler, John Doe. Nice to meet you. Okay, looks like a normal dude. Feels like I've seen him before, though. You must know all sorts of things about Mr. Unguard, right? Honestly, sir, I do believe my master is capable of such a foul deed as murder. We do suspicious of you, sir. Yes. And, anything else? No, not especially. It is not appropriate for a lowly servant to speak of the master or his affairs. Not typically butler-like, as it were. Mr. Doe, how long have you served at this residence? Well, sir, I would like to say maybe about 1 year. And, anything else? No, not especially. It is not appropriate for a lowly servant to speak of himself and his affairs. You know, I would have thought that Unguard would like to have a maid over a butler. That's a very cute cat you've got there. It is my duty to take care of him. The master rather fancies Shoo. And, anything else? Very sussy. No, not especially. It is not appropriate for a lowly servant to speak of the family cat. Well then, I guess I don't need this piece of scrap paper anymore. Well, I'm afraid I must take my leave of you now. Oh, we should probably get going ourselves. Ah, so young and yet already so accomplished. A master of law. But there is also a lot to be proud of in being a butler, and in charge of the house and all. Thank you for the compliment, sir. People are not always who they appear to be. Now, if you'll excuse me. Ah, that was a cute little kitty cat. Alright, let's move on. Looks like we're the only ones here. And yet, the hotel seems so busy somehow. Probably because of the police team is scouring for clues about the killer. Moving on. Hey, city boy! Lotta, you're still here. Wrecking course. An investigative photographer eats or starves on her ability to snag up the scoop, yeah? And this hotel just has that aura of mystery. You know, like something's always about to happen. But, do you have a camera? Wreck given. A photographer's gotta have cameras out the ear like corn to be a real pro, you know? So I'm hanging around here. Speaking of cameras and feet in the mouth, do you have mine, you bread thief? Why can't you drop that thief thing already? Here, maybe we can give her the camera back. Would you please take a look at this? Oh, nope. Never mind. Talk. I want to ask you about the night of the murder. What? You really gonna shell out the bucks for the info I got? Lotta, you were loitering in this hallway the night of the murder, were you not? Or did they just tell you the blunt facts of this game? Like that guy is at Unguard's house for some reason? Well, kinda, but brace yourself, Phoenix. Here it comes. I didn't exactly hang around here the entire time, you know? Followed a few stars around. Got a few autographs, shook a few hands, had a soda pop with a few of them too.
Looks like she wasn't here the entire time that night.
The security lady also wasn't in this hallway the whole time either. I guess this means there's no one who can tell us who came and went that night. So, about this note that was inside your camera case. Oh, that ditty I wrote? Yeah. Can I believe what you've written? You mean the stuff about Engard shoving his manager lady on the corridor? Yeah. Ah, well, I reckon you best not be believing that. What? Look, I sort of wrote that on a whim, you know? Writing whatever came to mind. Whatever came to mind? Yeah, when you get down to it, it's just a lot of random bulldooders. Hey, what's with ya? Why are you staring at me like my grandpa used to? Hey, and why do you look like you suddenly got older, too? Or am I just shrinking here? My baby. My $1,600 baby. What's with the red-coated prosecutor, anyhow? That guy told me it was evidence and refused to give it back to me. Well, that's kind of how it is. Hey, you're that red-coat's friend, ain't ya? So put in a few good words for me and get me back my camera. You want me to do what? Listen, nag the guy real good for about 5 hours and I guarantee he'll give it back. Why don't you go do your own dirty work? Well, I reckon it's time for me to get going. A tabloid photographer without a camera is just a tabloid, huh? Yeah, I guess so. Keep yourself together out there, you hear? I'm coming to see you in court tomorrow. Okay, I'll see you then. And you too there, little one. Keep up the good work, okay? Okay. Don't be picky about your food now. Okay. And make sure you do all your homework, you hear? Okay. And if you happen to find yourself a camera, make sure you bring it right back to me. Yeah, would you please just leave already? Hee. Oh, that Lotta. Well, back to this weird room. Mr. Nick! What is that otherworldly, ghastly moaning? I hate evil ghosts. Wah! I don't think it's a ghost. Maybe it's a demon. Excuse me, watch who you're calling a demon, brat. Zoinks, it's the alien. Who are you calling an alien? Oh, it's just you, Miss Oldbag. What are you doing here? What is wrong with the youngins today? I came down here to pay my respect to my poor Juan, and you're disturbing me. Please talk to me about the night of the murder just one more time. I talked about it plenty at the trial. I was fooled, tricked, deceived by that fraud of a photographer and her note. She was loitering around here with that embellic look on her face. With that embellic look on her face? Okay, got it. Now hold on a second there, you little pipsqueak. If you're going to take notes, at least make me sound better than that. Oh, alright. Now I've seen everything. But you know, I was working that night too, doing my job, minding my own business. But it's not like I had time to waste standing around here the whole night. Memories of Corrida. I was wondering if you could tell me a bit more about Mr. Corrida. He was the most popular star, you know, especially where it counts, in my book. But I heard that he was lagging behind in the polls against Mr. Engard. Well, that's just a recent thing. Bad luck and all that, you know? But he was going to become an even bigger star than he used to be. Look, just look at this mountain of presents. It's a show of the mountain of feelings all his fans have for him. Yeah, the mountain is pretty big. It's certainly nothing to shake a stick at. Mr. Nick? What is it, Pearls? The presents. They're all bears, right? She's got a point. There isn't a single thing here that isn't a bear. Presents. Although Mr. Corrida's presents from his fans seem to be bears. Oh, that's because you can't think of one without thinking about bears. Bears? Why bears? You don't know? When my dear Juan was training, he fought a bare-handed with a bear. He refused to give in and let the bear win, but after the fight they became friends. Wow, what a heartwarming story. Look, it's just like in those young people's dramas. I can see those two tuckered out, down by the river going, heh, you sure can fight. You too, bub, you too. Did all that really happen? It's in his biography, bub. What a load of crock. So ever since then, fans have been giving him bears as presents. Yeah, nice, bears. Growl! I'm Uncle Bear and I say it's barely 8 o'clock. What is that infernal racket? It's one of those presents going off. Sounds like it's already 8 p.m., way past your bedtime. Irk, that startled me. Thought I was going to die for a second. 8 p.m.? That's the time when the award ceremony ended that night, remember? Time sure flies. Hard to believe it's been 2 days since the ceremony. Uh-oh. The transceiver. Hello? Hello? This is not a phone. Maya, how is Maya? You haven't heard her, have you? It seems you were not able to fulfill your end of the bargain, Mr. Attorney. I have heard the news, so it would seem my present did you no good. No! Mystic Maya! Mystic Maya! One more day, please. All I ask is for one more day. I'll get a not guilty verdict for sure this time, please. I suppose if I must. I need the acquittal more than anything else after all. Please let Maya say something. I want to hear she's all right. All right. Hiss, then hiss. A little. What is with the static all of a sudden? Hello? Hello? It seems hiss, bad, hiss, connect. Damn it! Did the transceiver just suddenly break? Excuse me. What happened? I don't know. All of a sudden it became nothing but static. Ah, Mystic Maya! Mystic Maya! Why did the transceiver suddenly break like that? I should probably have an electronics expert look at it. The sooner the better. Oh dear, guys. Well, we have an extra day. Viola Hall. Yes. 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 No, that's not right. Oh yeah, Detective Gumshoe is here. Hey, welcome back, pal. I thought I'd make you a little something for dinner. That's nice. Thanks. A rich man's luxurious full-course meal out of a can, that is. I'm sorry you went through all the trouble to cook, but I don't have the time to eat. Oops, looks like you don't have a can opener, pal. You've got to be kidding. And here I thought he had already whipped something up. Oh, I know. There's one way I know how to be helpful. Ask me about anything you want, pal. Go ahead. Well, since he's here and offering, wonder what I should try asking him about. How about... Boop. The transceiver. Oh, Mr. Nick, you should ask Mr. Scruffy Detective about that thing. What thing? Oh yeah, this thing just up and broke all of a sudden. It broke, pal? When I was talking to the kidnapper, it just suddenly broke into static. Look, it sounded like this. Beep. I don't hear any static, pal. Huh? Maybe it fixed itself? That's strange. I'm sure it was making a loud static noise. Maybe what? Maybe it was electromagnetic interference, pal. Electromagnetic interference? Alright. Talk to me. Tell me about it. So what is electromagnetic interference? It's something that happens when a radio wave gets mixed up with another signal, pal. Oh, when you put it that way, I don't understand what you're talking about. Like, for example, when a cell phone goes off next to a computer screen, stuff on the screen gets kind of fuzzy and starts acting funny, right? Huh? Computer? It's like when you use the dryer next to the TV and the screen starts to look weird. Oh, yes, the TV does do that. Okay, so that's what you're talking about. She seems amazingly happy at being able to understand this. So the room you were in when the interference to the transceiver happened, there's gotta be something there that's sending out a very strong radio waves, pal. Something like, like a listening device or something. Ah, hey, speaking of that, where were you when that happened? We were in Mr. Corrida's room, the scene of the murder. What? That's it. I'm going to sneak into the precinct to get a bug sweeper. I'll meet you at the crime scene later, alright, pal? Wait, Gumshoe. Oh yeah, baby, it's investigating time. I'm on fire, pal. My fingers are itching to go. Yeah! We should be going too, Mr. Nick. Alright, let's go. Let's go! Alright, nothing new here. Just looking. Don't mind me. finally here, pal. Sorry to keep you waiting. Do you have the, bug sweeper? Well, you see, I got busted trying to sneak in, pal. And suddenly, I'm staring at the precinct doors. From the outside, I mean. So yeah, I couldn't get one of the police bug sweepers. What do you mean you couldn't get one? We need that item. Hey, calm down, pal. I didn't say I didn't get one, just not the police's. Wow, so this is a bug sweeper. Looks a little broken. Hey, this was made when I was in elementary school, pal. Oh? By who? Me, of course. Ah, seeing this sure brings back memories. Like a bull? What? What's like a bull? Hey, don't look down on it, pal. Sure, it looks a little beat up, but I put my heart and soul into building this puppy here. Your heart and soul? It'll work. Trust me, pal. It'll do the job. But? But you can't set the sensitivity, so it's going to beep at anything that gives off electromagnetic waves. But isn't it better that way?
Oh. This boy's got some impressive skills if he could make that when he was a kid.
Oh, his arrogance. Oh, I gotcha. Give it a whirl, right, pal? I'm getting that sinking feeling again. Okay, now I'll tell you how to use this baby. There's a listening device or some other sort of bug hidden in this room, pal. So we're going to find it, right? Right. Now first let's turn the sweeper on. Next, move the sweeper around to give the room a real thorough look-see, pal. The sweeper will let you know how strong of a signal it's picking up, so keep an eye on it, okay? Once you find something that gives off a lot of radio waves, press the A button and lock onto it. There's a lot of things here that's going to give off radio waves. Let's take a good look at anything and everything that seems suspicious, okay, pal? Alright, I'm going to go stand outside and keep an eye out. Give me a yell if you find the bug, got it, pal? Like this. A cell phone? Nope, no bugs in here. A cell phone? What? Don't tell me you don't know what a cell phone is. I'm sorry, I've never seen one before. Now that she mentions it, my cell phone couldn't get any reception while I was staying in Karain Village, and Pearls has never lived outside the village, so... well, I guess I can't say it's impossible to live without one. What about over here? The bear clock! Well, it certainly looks like an alarm clock. What's wrong? Why did you look troubled? Just can't imagine the listening device being inside the alarm clock. Just sort of reminded me of something that happened a long time ago. Oh. Well, anyway, looked like the listening device isn't in here. So much for that. Anything here? The bear. Wait, here? What? It's gonna be in a bear. Not just in a bear, but the big one. This is just a giant stuffed teddy bear, right? It's the biggest one I have ever seen. Hey, so did you guys find it yet? Listening device, I mean? No, not yet, but this bear's eye is... Let's see. A perfectly normal stuffed bear with some really strong radio waves. Looks like you found the device to me, pal. Let's dig this big fella's eye out and see what we've got. No, you can't. Such a violent act. Oomph. Rip. No! It's a miniature camera, and it looks like there's a transmitter and a timer. A what emitter? A transmitter, pal. Oh, is this more of that high-tech stuff? Eye camera. So this tiny thing is a camera? Yep, it's a pinhole CCD camera, pal. It's a small, high-grade video camera, mostly used in security systems. So it's a video camera. It runs on a battery, which comes in with a set. But there's no videotape in this camera. This is only the camera part here, pal. The tape recorder with the tape inside is somewhere else. Somewhere else? The footage is changed into the radio waves, and then it's sent to the recorder. So, it's sort of like a TV broadcast, isn't it? Hey, you know, you're right. Huh. So, what is a transmitter? It's a device that sends the footage the camera took to a specific destination. It's like a video version of a listening device, pal. It looks like it's attached to a small clock-like thing. Oh, it's a timer, pal. You can set it to turn the camera on and record at a certain time with it. You can set it for a certain time? Yep, let's see. This looks like it was set to start at 8 p.m. and go for 1 hour. 8 p.m.? That was the time the award ceremony ended. No date set, so it's been recording every night, I guess. But, Mr. Detective, how long has this bear been here? I'm pretty sure it's been here since the night of the murder. Then maybe... Maybe this camera caught the murderer on tape. What? And if you think about the angle the bear is at, it's bound to have had a clear shot of the whole crime, pal. Ho ho! So there was a camera in this bear's eye, and it was disguised as a present. And I'm sure it was here on the night of the murder, pal. It's pretty big, so it stands out pretty well in my mind. But who gave Mr. Corida this present? I don't know, pal. But this means that someone out there's got a video of what happened here that night. Isn't there any way we can find out who that person is? It's impossible, pal. Radio waves can be sent almost anywhere, so there's no real way to find out. Oh, sniffle. Is there really no way to find out? I got it. What? Hey, pal, let me borrow this mini camera for a bit. What are you going to do? I'm going to go around to to the electronic shops and see if I can find out who bought this. But that's impossible. I mean, it's already 9 p.m. Leave it to me. Even if I have to search all night, I'll find your man, pal. Oh yeah, baby, it's investigating time. I'm on fire, pal. My fingers are itching to go. Yeah!
Oh, yes there is, but whatever.
Oh, he's gone. Yeah, but Mr. Scruffy Detective sure is a nice man. He's pushing himself so hard, all for Mystic Maya's sake. It's a mystery how you've always managed to do the most inefficient ways. Things in the most inefficient ways, right? Ack. You'll have to excuse me. I heard your conversation just now. Edgeworth, what are you doing here? A rescue team has been created and deployed. I can't say I'm optimistic, but we have to move forward, one step at a time. I see. Thanks. Don't thank me yet. We still have to find her. So there was a spy camera hidden inside this stuffed animal, huh? You are one lucky man, right? You know the stuffed bear, little girl? I have no idea. Of course not. The maker of this bear is a very expensive luxury brand from overseas. It's completely handmade, and only a small number of these are exported here. What? The camera and transmitter that Scatterbrain Detective took with him are dead ends. Things like those can be bought anywhere. However, this bear is different. By checking how it got into this country, this bear can tell us who the buyer is. Can he really do that, Mr. Nick? Can he really? Well, I guess so. It's 9 p.m. I think I can still make it in time. I'll be taking this for now. I'm sure you have other things you have to do. See you soon, right? Wait. What? Why are you doing this? I have no interest in explaining myself to someone who cannot comprehend. But besides that, right? Until court reconvenes tomorrow, you should concern yourself with this question. Who was the person that murdered Juan Corida? The real killer? Do you really still think it was Adrian Andrews? To be honest, I don't know anymore. You still have a little time left. Find the truth, right? Everything begins with the truth. Juan Corrida's real killer? Miss Andrews' past? The kidnapper whose sole condition is an acquittal for Mr. Ungard. Heyo, Fire Skyrim! And this card, Shelly the Killer. I'm surviving somehow. We're getting through it. Maya, the only way I can save you now is to find all the answers to this case tonight. I don't understand what your real intentions are, Edgeworth. But as you said, all I can do for now is find the truth. But how you doing though, Hellfire Skyrim? Hope all is well. I'll play for a little bit longer. There's a certain point I want to get to tonight. If I gotta go a little bit longer to get to it, then so be it. It's past 9 p.m. already, isn't it? I wonder if Mr. Edgeworth has already found Mystic Maya. These things take time. I'd say probably not. The police are professionals, Pearls. They'll find her, so don't you worry. If we can win a not guilty verdict tomorrow, then everything will be okay. You're right. Alright, let's go then.
You're doing fine.
That's good. Wow, it's really getting late, isn't it, Mr. Nick? Yeah, it's past 9 p.m. already, but we still have some things to prepare for tomorrow's trial. There's still the matter of the secret Mr. Corrida held about Mr. Ungard, and Miss Andrews' real intentions. These are 2 things I must know tonight. But aren't visiting hours over at the detention center? I'm sure we'll think of something, Pearls. Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
That's kind of a weird question, D. Williams, to ask.
Kinda weird. Hey, wait. What is it, whippersnapper? All I know is nothing that has anything to do with you is ever good. Like just now, I was handed this strange device for who knows what reason. And I was told to use it to search the whole hotel.
Insults IDK?
Are you okay, D. Williams? Are you okay right now?
A whole hotel. Insults from 202.
I no longer know what we're talking about in chat now. Anyway, that's the bug sweeper, isn't it? The one Gumshoe made? I don't know, and frankly, I don't care, but the request came from Edgypoo, so, Edgeworth, and he said, if you feel angry, direct your anger at that unsophisticated lawyer. So, I'm going to feel free to direct all my anger toward you. Gee, thanks a bundle, Edgeworth. What a pal you are. This is absolutely top secret, so you better keep it to yourselves. I heard they found a spy camera hidden in one of the presents. Very interesting. Sure it was, you know, it was to catch poor Juan in the middle of a scandalous meeting. Scandalous? What part? It means, well, you know, that gossip that's been going about my dear Juan. Oh, you mean that thing about Miss Andrews? But I'm sure she must have had some reason for getting close to Mr. Corrida. I'll let you in on another secret, young'un. I know who planted that spy camera. It was that obnoxious puffy-haired photographer girl. That nerve of some people.
Want to insult Hellfire Skyrim? You tell him he isn't floofy?
Why are we insulting people? Let's not do that, maybe? Spying on people by herself, as if I wouldn't want to see it for myself, too. Wow, the alien actually admitted her true intentions for a change. I don't know what you're thinking exactly, but I can bet it's nothing good.
But
I didn't say anything. Sure. So you want to know about Juan and that manager, right? Actually, as I hear it, they were something of a refreshing pair, those two. Oh, I tell you, Juan really welcomed that manager with open arms, I heard. That manager?
Who are you talking about?
You don't know? That manager woman Juan had. It's a shame she killed herself, though. Oh, you're talking about Miss Celeste Impax, Miss Andrews' mentor, right? Yes, that's the one. That Celeste girl. She was supposed to get married, you know? Married? You mean to Mr. Corrida? Really? You young kids today don't know anything, do you? That girl Celeste killed herself 3 days after their marriage announcement. 3 days after their marriage announcement? What in the... What? What Miss Impact wants to kill herself? She was going to get married. Well, that's because she was thrown away, you see, by Juan. What? But they were going to get married, right? They promised each other, right? They held a grand announcement session, but 3 days later, Juan suddenly canceled their marriage. Is that true? It was in the weekly magazines. But why? Why did he do that? That was not in the magazines, unfortunately. I see. That night after Juan called off the wedding, that manager Celeste killed herself. How terrible. I wonder what happened between those two. Huh. Weird, huh? On that night, there must have been at least a few hundred people here. I guess the police are done with their questioning and investigating. Looks like things here in the lobby have finally calmed down. Alright. What about... Well, we'll go there later. How about the Criminal Affairs Department? It feels sort of tense in here, doesn't it, Mr. Nick? Yeah, it does. I wonder if something happened. You're Mr. Ungard's lawyer, right? Yes, sir. Well, we finally found just the person we've been looking for. A real decisive witness. A decisive witness? You mean for the Ungard case? We're taking the witnesses' statements right now. Gotta hand it to Mr. Edgeworth. What's Edgeworth up to now? Who is this witness? I think you know this person quite well, Mr. Lawyer. But Mr. Nick, between the kidnapper's demand and now this, I can't see any way to win here. Oh yeah, Mr. Edgeworth wanted me to tell you something. He did? Even though visiting hours are long over at the detention center, wanted me to grant you special permission, so there you go. What? I've already called them so they know. Go on, go talk to your heart's content. Thank you very much. This is such good news, Mr. Nick. Go talk to your heart's content. It sounds like the police are pretty sure they have tomorrow's trial in the bag.
What are those two schlubs doing tonight?
Good question. This must be the chief of detectives here. He's glued to his computer screen. What? Real killer is the court of murder is an assassin? This must be someone's idea of a joke. I can't believe this garbage. Have a little more faith in your own subordinates. Oh yeah, these two. That must be one of the detectives. He's mumbling something to himself. It seems as though my true face has been revealed. I was an elite businessman who made deals with the entire world. Was the young successor and CEO of a colossal corporate conglomerate. But my real self is that of a regular, everyday policeman. Stop doing image training and get yourself out there in the field. Finally,
he said what we were all thinking.
I'm sure they must have transferred Miss Andrews here by now. So that means that both Mr. Ungard and Miss Andrews are in the detention center. Now then, whose story do I want to hear? How about Adrian first? Oh, it's you. I'm sorry to be visiting at such a late hour, but there are a few questions I absolutely have to ask you tonight. Me? I thought your client was Matt. I'm sure Miss Andrews knows something. She can't be clueless about this secret Mr. Corridor had on Mr. Ungard.
Okay.
I'd like to ask you about Matt Ungard, if you don't mind. Mr. Wright, you still don't know, do you? The real him, I mean. You seem to bear a lot of resentment toward Mr. Ungard. If that's the case, then why did you become his manager? And why would you become intimate with his rival? That has nothing to do with this case. Nothing. About Miss Celeste Impax, I've finally put her death behind me, and now, thanks to you, it's all come back to the surface. I'm sorry. Yes, I was shocked by her suicide, and it's true that when I heard the rumor of that one was the one who had hidden her suicide note, I began to draw close to him. I wanted to get her suicide note back and to burn it. You wanted to burn it? But why? I didn't want it to spread like just another piece of gossip, but never held any murderous intent toward Juan. I would never do something so stupid. A suicide note, huh? Wonder what it said. Why did you try to frame Mr. Ungard? That's simple, because he's the killer, that's why. Isn't it the duty of every good citizen to inform the police? But there had to be another way. The police are excellent at doing their job, so they'd figure it out, right? Yes, they're so good that they couldn't figure out the real truth behind Celeste's death. Miss Andrews? Well, I know you're not the type of person to do something without a reason, so please, tell me why you did what you did. Revenge. Huh? Did you say something just now? Oh! Oh no. A Cyclock, huh? Don't you understand yet? You're not my lawyer. To be honest, you're more like my enemy. But I'm sure I just heard Miss Andrews say, revenge. One Psyche-Lock. Oh boy. Doesn't look like Mr. Scruffy Detective is here. Well, he's out there with that camera asking around at all the electronic stores. Then I'll make some salad for him for dinner. Looks like Pearls really appreciates what Gumshoe is doing for us. Mr. Nick? Yes? Where's the lettuce? I don't think I've ever bought lettuce before. Aw, I guess I have to give up on making a salad then. Guess the lack of lettuce is kind of a problem. Poor Pearls. Let's hear Mr. Ungard's story now. Dude, it's Mr. Wright. Hope you can get me off the hook tomorrow. I'm counting on you. I hope so too. Edgeworth just dropped a bombshell on me by saying that Juan Corrida was killed by an assassin, and that the assassin's client is this man, Matt Ungard. What's wrong? Mr. Ungard, there's something I must know with 100% certainty. You seem kinda different. You're totally not like your usual lawyer self, dude self. About the press conference? You mean the one where Juan was gonna dress up like the Nickel Samurai? Yeah, I heard a little more about it from Miss Andrews. It looked like somehow Juan had held in his hands a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed. Could you please fill me in on what this secret is, please? Oh no. Oh god. Oh god! There's 5 locks! I knew this was coming. Dr. Nick, Mr. Nick, don't tell me. Psych locks. You said a secret, right? But I don't have any idea what it is. Do you, dude? Did you know about Mr. Corda and Miss Andrews' relationship? Well, it's all over the tabloids, dude. But I don't know any of the details, if that's what you mean. Look, how many times do I have to tell you? I don't care what Juan did with his life. Miss Andrews, she had a purpose in mind when she started seeing Mr. Corda. Her mentor was Mr. Corda's manager, and Miss Andrews was going to get Miss Celeste Impact's suicide note from him. Celeste, does this jog any memories? Dude, suddenly just got totally hungry. You up for a pizza? My treat. Mr. Nick, what's a pizza? Is it kind of pea like green peas? Let's go eat one later, okay? I got cut off by the pizza dude at the shop. That's too bad. Well, how about we get our minds off the topic and talk about something else, okay? Mr. Ungard, are you connected to Miss Impact's suicide in some way? Hope not. He's our client. We kind of need him to, Move. Criminal affairs, maybe? No. Guess we'll go around everywhere. I kind of forgot where to go now. Not to you. Not to you. I don't think we need to do anything here. You're beginning to suspect she was a hit. She was a hit? Like, Oh. So the real person who killed Mr. Corridor was that assassin, Mr. Shelley the Killer, right? And the card Miss Andrews found at the crime scene seems to be proof of that. But if that's the case, then a new question comes to mind. Who was the one that hired the killer to begin with? Who was his client? You mean, who asked for the murder? That person didn't want to dirty their own hands in blood, but whoever this client is, they're still a killer. Who could have hired the assassin? Do you think it was Miss Andrews? I wonder. But if she was the client, then why go through the effort to stab the knife into the corpse herself? But if Miss Andrews wasn't the client, then no, it can't be Matt Ungard himself. If Mr. Ungard really did hire the assassin, then he is not innocent at all. Far from it, he would be guilty of the crime. But it can't be Mr. Ungard, right? I mean, when we first talked with him... Mr. Ungard, I'd like to ask you one more question. Did you kill Mr. Juan Corrida? Alright, just so we're clear, dude. I didn't kill anyone, and that includes Juan Corrida, okay? Oh, an assassin hit. Oh, Celeste was? You're tired. Bye, D. Williams. I'll see you later. Be well. Actually, that reminds me. Did you remember something, Mr. Nick? Yeah, something Miss Andrews said at the trial today. She said something interesting. So what is this interesting thing? Oh, that's right. You didn't hear it, did you, Pearls? Juan had bet everything on the Gemin Ninja this year, and if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought anyway. It looked like somehow Juan had in his hands a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed. Mr. Ungard's secret? What is the secret? I don't know yet, but for now, let's think about it this way. Mr. Corrida was going to reveal the secret. That means Mr. Ungard had plenty of motive to have Mr. Corrida silenced. Which means we have to meet with Mr. Ungard. There's no way around it now. So who did it, guys? Who hired Shelly the killer? Who did? Oh, but now where do I go?
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Oh, Mr. Wright, please, you have to help me.
Uh-oh. But Mr. Powers? What happened? Why are you here?
You see, I got roped into this somehow.
What?
And now I'm going to testify at tomorrow's trial. So the decisive witness is Mr. Powers? I was talking with a detective until a little while ago, and I was on my way home, and all of a sudden, you're under arrest, and I was brought back here. Oh. They said my face and my whole self in general looks suspicious or something. You think it's on guard? But that's a problem, though, 'cause if I don't prove him, not guilty, Maya's dead. So what do I do? They said my face and whole self in general look suspicious or something. Well, I guess I can see how they thought you look suspicious. I'm just a normal guy in an exercise show for kids. Is that a crime? So about this testimony you're giving, what are you going to talk about? Really don't know yet, but it sounds like I saw something pretty, important from what they tell me. You saw something important? What was it? Well, the detective told me not to talk about it. You can't tell anyone, and especially not that lawyer, he said. What do you think that lawyer the detective was talking about? I'm going to take a wild guess and say it's me. Yeah, you got it. Mr. Nick, Mystic Maya and myself are your only two allies in this whole world, but it's alright. Being honest, that's the twist you remember reading? We'll see. We'll see if you're right. Ouch, I don't really have a lot of friends, do I? This is going to do a lot of damage to Matt, you know, because he's got that refreshing like a spring breeze image going. But what is he really like? Well, let's see. Matt's always been kind of a player with women. He would never really turn a pretty face away, if you know what I mean. He'd always say, it's just a game to justify himself. What? How horrible. That's unforgivable. Ow, sorry, didn't mean to offend you. But, you know, he said once that there's only one person in the world who won't swoon over me. One person who wouldn't swoon over him? His manager, you know, Miss Adrian Andrews. Why is Mr. Power suddenly looking kind of energetic? You see, I'm actually a sucker for gossip. I mean, celebrities in their world have this dazzling sort of image, right? Dazzling sort of image, but aren't you part of that dazzle, Mr. Powers? No, I'm more of a hairy, sweaty, smelly, brutish kind of guy, you see. But it's okay, really. I get to hear plenty of gossip about a lot of other stars around me as things happen. Well, that's true. Oh, hey, did you hear about this yet? About Miss Andrews' mentor and her suicide? You mean Miss Impax? We heard something about how her wedding was cancelled. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I thought about it a little the other day, about that mysterious death. Hey, Mr. Wright, why don't you ask me about that? Go on, go ahead. Mr. Powers is so charged up his skin is practically glowing with electricity. Hey, so have you heard this? Celeste left a suicide note. And they say that Juan went and hid it. We heard about that in court today. But there wasn't any actual proof that she had left a note. Well, this is what I think. I think that someone bad was written on that note. Something bad for Juan, that is. Something bad for Mr. Corrida? Why do you figure so? Well, before she died, Celeste talked with a few of her friends, and she said, looks like I got caught up with a truly insidious man. A truly insidious man? Did she mean Mr. Corrida by that? Well, there's no one else that fits the bill, right? And that would be reason enough for him to hide the suicide note. I see. Well, that's some good info. Thank you. You're welcome. Mr. Unguard and Miss Andrews, they're both at the detention center right now. There's still things I don't understand or know about, I'm sure. I have to get the two of them to tell me everything. Mr. Nick, your phone! Hey, that's a Steel Samurai theme song, isn't it? I don't like the sound of this ringtone right now. It sounds kind of ominous. Yeah, I know. Hello? We're in trouble now, pal. I'll be back in the office really soon. What's wrong? Something really unexpected just happened. Mr. Edgeworth, Edgeworth? Anyway, hurry up and get back to the office, pal. I don't know what's going on anymore. It's no good. The end. Hello? Got cut off. What's going on, Mr. Nick? Gumshoe said we need to go back to the office right away. But then we should hurry back. I'm scared to go back.
What are you talking about, Mr. Nick? Pull yourself together. Maybe it'll be good news. Somehow I doubt that.
Alright, I do see the time, guys, but I want to keep going. There's a certain part I want to get to today.
What took you so long, pal? Mr. Edgeworth couldn't stick around forever and had to go. Well, what happened?
We got him. We know who bought that spy camera.
Eh? This quickly?
And this bear is what gave them away, pal.
The bear?
I figured it out, pal. I figured that we should have been looking into this bear instead of the camera.
But wasn't it Mr. Edgeworth that figured...
Shh, Pearls.
And? Go on.
There's only one person who bought one of these bears is related to this crime.
Who is it? Who would be so rude as to spy on another person in their room?
Matt Ungard.
Huh?
Matt Ungard, your client, that's who, pal. And here I thought things couldn't get any worse.
Well...
Are you sure you heard right? That the person who bought the bear was... I heard it from the department store clerk, pal. This is the credit card receipt for the purchase. It's for $3,800, pal. That's an exact match to the price of that stuffed bear.
A receipt? That's all you have?
Nah, it's not just a receipt, pal. The store clerk said so himself. He told me, I'm sure I sold the bear to Mr. Ungard. I mean, the clerk even got Mr. Ungard's autograph out of it, pal. So I'm sure the person that bought the stuffed bear was Mr. Ungard himself.
My sight is failing me. But this can't be.
This is bad.
So what about the spy camera we found?
That was a dead end, pal. I mean, you can get this kind of thing from anywhere. But for now, I guess I can give these back to you to file away into evidence. I know you don't want to give up, pal. I didn't think it was possible. The person who put the spy camera in Juan Corrida's room was Matt Ungard.
Why? Why would Mr. Ungard do something like this?
But it was to catch Miss Andrews and Mr. Corrida in one of their rendezvous. I bet it's not good enough for me. I have to know this absolute truth behind this camera. Are you going to see him? Mr. Ungard, I mean.
Yes. I'm scared, Mr. Nick. I wonder what we will find out next.
I'm scared myself, but I have to put on a good face for Pearls. Matt Ungard, what in the world have you done? Oh boy.
Real quick, guys, I'm gonna go back here.
That must be one of the detectives. He's mumbling something to himself.
I'm sorry, everyone. I've lied to you all. I'm not a detective. I'm really global hero Onyan Kopan.
I think he's lost his grip on what's real and what isn't. Okay, here we go.
You're working really late, you know. It's already past 10 p.m., dude. I think it's time you told me the truth. Relax, don't you know that ignorance is bliss? But if you really want to know, let's talk. Let's do a little savey save. And let's crack that 5-lock psyche lock thing. Matt's secret. Now let's hear what this secret of yours is. What if Mr. Corrida had been successful in his plan? What would he have disclosed? I told you before, dude. I don't know. I don't know anything about Juan, okay? Look, Mr. Wright, I can keep on saying it until I'm blue in the face, but probably didn't pay Juan any attention the whole time that night. I mean, come on. I was in the middle of a nap. Don't lie to me. Huh? I know you paid close attention to Mr. Corrida, especially on that night. The camera! Someone used this camera to secretly film Mr. Corrida's room the night of the murder. Secretly film? What? And then sent the images with the camera took with this transmitter. Wow, but dude, where was this camera you're talking about hidden? Hidden in the bear. The spy camera was hidden in the bear's eye. A bear that was supposed to be present from a fan. Good. I guess Juan had a few of those kinds of fans too, huh, dude? Actually, I wouldn't say his bear was a present from a fan. You sure, dude? Who else could it be from? A person who gave this bear to Mr. Corridor was... Juan himself. Nope. Mr. Ungard, don't you know this bear from somewhere? I don't think I've ever met Mr. Bear before, dude. Aw, but he says he knows you. How could you forget such a great friend? What else did the bear tell you? He says that the one who put the camera in his eye was you, Mr. Ungard. If I didn't know how you work in court, I think I was in some serious trouble. Come on, this is all a joke, right, dude? You're just pulling my leg. Looks like you're not ready to give up your secret yet. Well, do you have any proof you want to show me first? Here's proof that it was you who put the camera inside the bear. The receipt. I have here one credit card receipt, Mr. Ungard. It's from when you bought the stuffed bear. Dude, all you can tell from that is that I spent $3,800. I go to that department store all the time, okay? This $3,800? This could be the toothbrush I bought that one time. A $3,800 toothbrush? It's in ivory, and it's got elephant hair for bristles. Ew, elephant hair? Is that what rich people use nowadays? Maybe. Anyway, the store clerk clearly remembers you and your purchase. After all, you even gave him an autograph, did you not? Dude, you should have said that earlier. So can I ask you one thing? Yes. You're my lawyer, right, dude? So, if you are, then why are you looking into stuff like that? Because if I don't know the truth, I can't help you. Sounds more like stupid lawyer talk to me. Now let's stop talking about this, okay? No, not yet. I haven't asked why you set the camera up yet. And what your secret is. Of course, it would be strictly confidential. So, what are you going to do now? Going to find out what I want to know, because I must. The reason you hid this camera in Mr. Corridor's room to film it in secret is... this card. What is this card? Maybe he doesn't know about this card. This is a certain man's calling card. The man's name is Shelly the Killer, and I'm sure you know of him, don't you? Shelly? The Killer? That's ridiculous. Why would I know some shady scumbag like him? If we don't know him, then why are you acting so jumpy all of a sudden? This is it. I'm finally starting to get to the truth. I can't afford to make any more mistakes now. Mr. Matt Ungard, I know why you know Mr. the Killer. It's because you're a hero of justice. You're a star. You're his client. Since you're the one who set up that camera, that means you knew exactly what was going to happen in that room. So, how would you know something like that? It's because you're his client. That's why. You hired Shelly the Killer to assassinate Mr. Juan Corrida. The real mastermind behind this whole murder is you, Matt Ungard. And here I was, trying to be a good boy for you, dude. I thought if you didn't know, you'd be able to do your job without feeling bad. Well, that's what I thought, anyway. But Mr. Ungard, you really did hire... Hold on a sec, I'm gonna consult myself, okay? Consult myself? Well, I guess it's probably about time anyway. About time for what? I think it's about time for you to meet him now, Mr. Lawyer Dude. Oh! How do you do, Mr. Lawyer? I'm Matt Ungard. You were right, Captain Chips. You were spoiled. Alright, we're gonna talk to him and then we're going to skedaddle for the night. Well done, Mr. Wright. I bet it wasn't easy to gather as much information as you have. So you are Shelly the Killer's client? You didn't really think I would dirty my own hands in this, did you? What did you mean? That's what you read? Nice. And that woman, Adrian, was quite brave herself, trying to stick the crime on me. I didn't think she had it in her. But all I care about is that Juan is dead. Isn't that right, Mr. Lawyer? You're lying. What a terrible... It's way past your bedtime, little girl. Go on, and let us grown-ups talk about more adult things. Where'd you get that wine glass, by the way? But why? Why did you hide the video camera and... A weakling soon believes the words of others, just like that pathetic Adrian. He knew about Miss Andrews' secret. But I'm no weakling. I don't believe anyone, least of all assassins. What? Oh, come now, Mr. Wright. Assassins aren't above blackmail. They turn their clients into cash cows by holding their sinful deed over their heads. And a superstar like me, how much do you think I'm worth? Care to guess? And that's why? Yes, that's where the video comes in. It's got his face and the crime scene recorded on it, preserved for all time. With that, I can keep him at bay and even blackmail him if I want. That's right, that video is my insurance. Isn't that what they call it, Mr. Wright?
Where do any of your clients get the things they fidget with?
Good question. Where do they? Why would you do something so wrong? Because I'm a grown-up and I can. Get enough of an answer for you, little girl? Why? Why would you kill Mr. Corrida? Because he was about to sling so much dung onto my beautiful public image. Scandals are a little annoying, aren't they? This is all because of that press conference, isn't it? If Mr. Corrida had been able to give it, then Mr. Engelgard's secret would have... Ah, well, that's what we call taking advantage of the situation, you know? I had no interest in doing it, really, but bit by bit, it crept up on me. And then the situation just presented itself perfectly. How beautiful, I thought. And that's how Mr. Corrida ended up dead. Let me tell you something. I'm not like Adrian. I don't depend on anyone. People are simply things to be used and thrown away. Put on a sweet, innocent face and people will swallow anything you feed them. Adrian fell for it, the assassin too. Oh, and how can I forget? Even you fell for it, Mr. Lawyer. Everyone, all working their butts off for me, Matt Engelgard. Aw, did that leave you speechless? What a shame. What's wrong, Mr. Lawyer? You've grown awfully quiet. How could I have been so deceived by you all this time? When we first met, I asked if you had killed Juan Corrida, and you answered very clearly that you hadn't killed anyone. Hey, no, never told you any lies. The person who did the killing was that D-Killer guy, right? All I'm guilty of is taking a cat nap in my room. You killed Mr. Corrida! I dare you to say that in court tomorrow. Grrr. But too bad. You can't. You're my lawyer, after all, aren't you? You could always drop my case and refuse to represent me.
How does that sound?
But you can't, can you? That would be the one thing you absolutely can't do. But, Mr. Maya... You wouldn't want to test D-Killer. He's a man of his word, or so I hear. You could end up getting a certain friend of yours rubbed out if you lose. You scoundrel. So if I were you, Mr. Wright, Esquire, I think I would give it my all tomorrow. Remember, everyone likes a happy win-win resolution. I'll get you for this. That's such a cliche phrase. Juan said something just like that, if memory serves. Of course, well, we all know how well things turned out for him, don't we? Good night, Mr. Lawyer. Maya, what am I supposed to do? And now you finally found it. The starting line of this case. Edgeworth. I don't care for the horrid atmosphere in here. Let's return to the precinct. Well, Wright, what are you going to do? If you plan on changing your strategy... No! We can't do that! That's right. He's holding Maya hostage. What? What should I do? That's not something I can answer for you. But Mr. Edgeworth... Right. Only you can decide where to go from here. 1 year ago, at that time, I didn't truly understand what a prosecutor was. And that is why I had to leave the prosecutor's office. I felt that I couldn't stand in court of law until I knew what a prosecutor really was. And now, Wright, it's your turn. My turn? What is this thing called a lawyer? What can you do as one? You must find the answer, and you must find it on your own. One more thing, guys. Aw, never mind. Alright. I think the next time I play this, guys, we'll finish this game. We're gonna finish this game in 2 days, guys. And it's gonna be exciting. How are we going to prove his guilt? And how can we save Maya? We'll see next time. But we have one more stream of Hogwarts Legacy to do before that. So take care, guys. See you all tomorrow, and have a good one. Bye-bye!